Professional roofing services, from repairs to complete lifetime warranted replacements.
And you can trust our experienced team to keep your home safe and secure. And we can even handle insurance claims for you.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
To inside and out.
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. Oh, man. Jimmy Matthews. You may have to be ready for the Jimmy Matthews call, Dan, because the Inquirer tags in Chris Matthews to write an editorial attacking Trump. I think the editorial is in the Washington Post, but it was written for the Inquirer. Chris Matthews knows the Philadelphia suburbs. They don't trust Trump on abortion. They think Trump wants to prevent them from getting abortions. Oh, my God. Yeah, how can one guy be attacked?
Ego juice.
He's not pro-life, yet he's coming so that you can't get an abortion. The text that was put out.
That cover is the best kiss.
The thrill coming up the leg now, and even Keith Olbermann, Dan, when he said he had a thrill coming up his leg about Obama, said steady now, steady. Even Keith Olbermann told him to be steady now. Wow, what a meaning. And what's the name? The senator from Georgia challenged him to a duel on national TV.
Like what kind of duel? Like a sword duel or like a gun duel?
A gun duel.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it
Would have
was.
been very entertaining.
Was it Zell?
Well,
from Georgia. It was during the convention. No word if he accepted or not. Okay. But I want to start with all the Russian.
Zell Miller.
Zell Miller, that's what it was, yeah. I want to start. You thought I was making it up. No.
I did.
Yeah. I want to start with all the Russian stuff. I need a little bit of music for the background because I have something to read to you. Thank you. That was sent out October 2nd of 2016 in the heat of that big election. Miners for Trump said they were holding a big rally at the Marconi Plaza in South Philadelphia, the heart of coal country. Here's their quote. America's always been hinged on hardworking people. If you remove jobs, you'll remove your country from the world map. The state of Pennsylvania rose owing to multiple enterprises, mining coal, producing steel, creating the need for other jobs. Dentists, doctors. As far as Mr. Trump pursues the goal of creating more jobs and supports the working class, he said he would put miners back to work. We could help Mr. Trump win Pennsylvania, which is a battleground state. We'd like to organize a rally, Miners for Trump, in Pennsylvania to be held at Marconi Plaza.
Child labor?
Now, this is what the Russians were up to, and that was proven to be the Ruskies trying to do something. So I want to see if you're bold enough. Now, you may not agree, but by the way, the breaking news, and we're on it, is that Hunter Biden, Fox News reporting, is changing to guilty in the tax case. And, you know, as much as I just need several bibs when thinking of this entitlement and that he finally goes to jail, It seems dwarfed now because Biden's not the candidate. And you got to watch Trump. You know, Trump's handlers have to get with him. Look, wake up. Biden's not the guy. I know you had it all planned. I know this is tough. And they just tag somebody else in. Trump today seeing Hunter Biden go down this, realized if it were Biden, how big of a deal this would be. He's doing economic remarks.
Well,
I don't know if he'll throw Hunter Biden into it, but there is another angle. Hunter Biden, what were we told about that when it was convenient? We were told Russian disinformation. We were told nothing to see here. Now, I want to know, our question's going to be asked by the media today. When Hunter Biden is pleading guilty to the tax case, he was found guilty in the gun case. Where's all this Russian disinformation talk that we were told? Remember all that? The FBI and others. Don't believe it. Don't believe that laptop. The guy with the Tam O'Shanter hat over in Wilmington. He's a Russian mole. You can tell by the hat. Dan, you had something there. Go ahead.
oh, no, I don't. I'm good.
Oh, good. All right. All right. So, you know, I get it with Trump. He's got to be upset thinking, oh, man, if this were the election, Hunter Biden pleads, I'd be going down Broadway. That would be it. It was already case closed with Biden. But they're not going to let it interact with Kamala Harris. But this Russian stuff is going to be the line of attack again here.
That's what I was going to ask is, do you think Hunter Biden, this would be happening if Biden were still the presidential candidate?
No.
Yeah.
And I think they have him so dead to rights that he'd be a fool to go forward with the trial. He got found guilty before, so he knows that. By plea bargaining, does that give him a chance to say he's not going to jail? This guy ought to go to jail for 20 years, the stuff that he's been involved in. And he, not Republicans, he's the face of entitlement, white privilege of the Bidens, big time. So we'll let you know what the deal is as soon as we know. But this Russian stuff, think about it. I wanted to see, can we all agree on this? I despise Putin. Putin is an existential threat. Putin's an animal. Putin is a murderer. Putin is a tyrant. Putin is all those things. He is small potatoes, though, in the grand scheme of things, alongside the Chinese, who are a much more, need I say COVID, much more existential threat. But can't we all agree? Putin, enemy. Chinese, existential enemy to the world. Iran, enemy up and down the line. I'm asking that because we get crazy here now, the Justice Department. And look, Dan, these guys, I'm not going to be like, sadly, Jesse Waters a bit last night. Look, these guys that were influencers, right? The Benny Johnson guy. The worst might be that pool guy, right? They're taking money from they were duped, true. But they're taking huge amounts of money, apparently, from this tenant group and unnamed sources. They don't know anything about it. So, yeah, I think they're being duped. They would say the same things, though. I mean, the Russians are not putting information through them that they say because the Russians are paying them. They believe in these things. They believe they're going down this path. So where's the Russian influence that's so overwhelming here? What's the evidence of that?
And why is there, you mentioned it, but why is there no talk about the Chinese influence?
Well, I'm getting to that. Or even, let's start with a virulent, not as big of a player, but Iran. Two things. Iran, the hacking of the Trump campaign, and then we still don't know the Iranian assassination team / what happened when President Trump was shot, that Iran is a prime suspect and stuff like that. They are. We're not going to hear about Iran, though. And look, Iran's not on the level of China or Russia, I don't think. But again, back to the Russians. I'm asking 855-839-1210. Can we all agree in the mode of Ronald Reagan? Now, Trump is not Ronald Reagan on Russia. I get the argument. I don't buy into it fully of, all right, butter Putin up and then you can deal with him. I think Putin didn't do things during the Trump years because he saw Trump, like Reagan, as somebody who would take action, leverage that we have, that would make things difficult for Putin. I don't think Trump playing ball with Putin is why Putin didn't invade Ukraine or anything else. I think he saw Biden's weakness. He knew that Trump would strike back in a way that would harm him, and that's why he made that decision. But can we get past this on the Republican side? Aside from Dan's point, China, Iran.
Can I just dig into that real quick?
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about a Russian endorsed media that's giving money to a media company, and all of a sudden they're propagandists. Why are we not talking about China's investments in things like Disney and the way that they propagandize Disney? It's the same exact
Well, the
thing.
movies, I was thinking of having the guy on in the book today that we had on before that wrote that book. That's why Richard Gere is persona non grata. He was the heartthrob of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Now the guy can't be in a documentary.
So you're telling me that you're going to come after this $100,000, $200,000 investment? What was it? Sorry.
Well, I think it was millions.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
but,
with these guys.
In comparison to the amount that these Chinese investors are putting into companies like Disney or running companies like TikTok and the amount of propaganda they're putting out in favor of Democrats, and we're just going to turn a blind eye to that? Come on.
Yeah, look, my point is I have no time for these guys in the Russian thing. I'm not going to do whataboutism. So, okay, what are we doing about China? What are we doing about Iran? And this outfit called Mediaite, which is to the left of center, and they take a look at the media. The worst of what they've said is they tag in Ronald Reagan. I like the film a lot. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall, okay? I wouldn't say Reagan and Trump are exactly alike, but there are a lot of elements of the two of them in their time that is alike. They go on to say, why is it with the Russian stuff going? Now, here's the thing that's really offensive, that pro-Trump commentators and Fox News, the talking points you hear on Fox News are exactly the talking points of the Russians. And why do the pro-Trump commentators and talk radio regularly attack America, its people, its values, and its allies? All right, let's get the gloves off here. We're not attacking America. We're attacking what progressives have done and are trying to do to destroy America. We're defending Ronald Reagan's America. We're defending traditional America. They are the ones that are, and the best evidence is, New York Times this past week, the Constitution is sacred, but it may be something that tears apart the country. No, it's not tearing apart anything. It's the fact that you don't want to live under the Constitution, Second Amendment, First Amendment. That's what the problem is. You want the Constitution out of your way. We're a republic. We're not a democracy. You want to overrun us with voters in California and New York. Thank God for the Electoral College. Constitutional. So I wonder if you're in agreement, 855-839-1210, that yes, Russia is a big-time enemy. There's no doubt. And we ought to be as clear as we can to kind of take this issue away. But China is the enemy, arguably the greatest enemy to the world. I would argue greater than anything even that we saw in World War II. For the simple reason, the sheer enormity of the things that they can pull off, including COVID. They are the greatest enemy the world has seen. That's the way I see them. And Iran is maniacal, religiously maniacally, and will do anything. They just don't have quite the power. But Putin is stone cold evil. There is no doubt. So we'll say that and then ask you, what are we doing about China? How are we going after China? What about the Iranians and the assassination attempt on Trump? All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. In other words, it's not an article of faith to me to be soft on Russia. It's not. It's an obvious thing. But we are not the ones. This is a constant refrain now. We're not the ones tearing down America, its people, its values. Case in point, when Jim Kenney was mayor, every single second I seethed at attacking Philadelphia government and what it's all about. With Sherrell Parker, there are things I don't like. For example, I think they're going to shove that arena, the Sixers arena, down our throat. There's no way the Sixers ought to be in Center City, Philadelphia. The study out just recently, it will be massive traffic jams. It will be the destruction of Chinatown, which is what we're always told is you shouldn't be doing things like that. And it's mainly going to benefit a bunch of billionaires. Why would we do that? Well, there's all kinds of things. Bob Brady, publicly at Mulligan, said he was against it. All right, so, I'm not knee-jerk on just going after Philadelphia, but under Jim Kenney and any number of previous regimes, yeah, we are going to go after it every day. It's still not good. Larry Krasner's still here. All right, let me give you the side question. But I'd love to hear from you. Can you make the case, despite the obvious politics of this, the way to defeat it is not only to say, what about China, what about Iran? But, of course, it's easy for us to go after Russia. We know what they're about. Now, they're ham-handed, their attempts at influencing this election. This is the other thing. They want us to believe still that Russia was the deciding factor in the election of 2016. No, the deciding factor, when you look back on it, is the sheer unlikability of Hillary Rodham Clinton. They couldn't sell it in the end. They couldn't get over the finish line. That's what it was about. And Trump was an existential force that you couldn't predict. I've said many times, Rich and I were on that night, election coverage. We didn't want to say what was happening in Pennsylvania fully. We were afraid we'd jinx it because you never could count Pennsylvania going for the Republican. It was shocking. All right, 855-839-1210. All right, side question today. I just happened to see this. Dan and I talked about it yesterday. Thought it's a really good one. Ever have the experience where the villain, or at least the anti-hero, it's kind of a villain with some good qualities, it's all over the place, is more interesting than the supposed good guy? All right? So I'm thinking Omar in The Wire is one of the all-times. Now, he's
not a good person by any means, I would.
No, but he's
morally
good. He's got a lot of good moral sense about him.
Henry says my man's got to have a code.
That's right. That's right. He said that every time. And Dan thinks Walter White's an anti-hero.
Oh, there's no doubt Walter White's an anti-hero.
No,
he's no kind of good.
He's a villain.
Okay, you know what? That's a good argument. I think I might be able to. Yesterday when we were arguing about this, I thought you were trying to argue that he was a hero. And
no.
It's like, is there going to be a future of Dom, going out to New Mexico? And
he's a villain. So give us somebody who's a villain or at least an anti-hero that you think, though, is so interesting.
Henry submits Tony Soprano.
He's a villain.
Just straight up villain?
Yeah, he's straight up villain.
But can you cheer him on? I mean, he has sympathetic natures when he's doing his, psychological exams and.
I like what they did with the character. No, you can't cheer Tony Soprano on in the sense of thinking, oh, there, but for the grace of God, go I, or something like that. They reveal him to be what he really is, I think, in the biggest moments. You see what he'll do. It is about him in the end. So you may differ. Henry may differ, too. You may see him as an anti-hero. I mean, that's a close call. How about yours, Dan?
Anakin Skywalker, I think is a good one. But even more so, Dom, I think behind us we have the music of Batman. It's a vigilante, I mean, breaking laws to hold people account, ruining stuff. I mean,
Batman is not a villain.
He's not a villain.
Okay.
But, I mean, should be lauded as such a hero when he's,
yes,
just a rich guy recklessly going through a city and handling criminals the way he sees fit?
I would commend to people, Dan, you might like it too, Netflix right now, Wyatt Earp and the war with the Cowboys, and how that it was influenced, it was national politics around that, silver and everything else. And apparently the argument is Wyatt Earp was a bad guy, but he cleaned it up toward the end of his life and is seen as a hero. I don't see it that way. I still see Wyatt Earp as the good guy, just having to do what he had to do. All right, so here's how you get in. So we're looking for somebody who's a villain or maybe an anti-hero, but is more interesting than the good guy in a movie, TV, whatever it might be. 855-839-1210. You get on board. And also, I should be flooded with people. Can we all say, yep, Russia, China, Iran, all the enemy? Let's just say it. Let's not dance around with Putin. Oh, you can work with Putin. No. He's the enemy. You keep him in line because we have superior abilities. And I like to believe that's what Trump did. I wish Trump would go easier on this public. You're not going to influence the ego of Putin by saying, oh, I could work with Putin. You got to sit down with Vlad and talk. He's a stone cold, outright killer. But the Chinese are clearly not even close. Russia's AAA. The Chinese are the Kansas City Chiefs, or pick your team. That's the difference. All right, we're watching, too, to see, do we get that Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty? You know, this happened before. He was ready to plead guilty, and then he didn't, and then he was found guilty. I'm still celebrating if he gets a lengthy jail term. I don't think we'll know today. He deserves 20 years, at least. Does he give up some of the Biden crime family? All right, 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Talk Radio 1210.
September baseball is always exciting.
It's at the wall. It's gone! A grand slam, and the Phillies now lead it 6-5.
Friday night, catch all the excitement as the Phils travel to Miami to face the Marlins. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The pitch swung on, belted deep left field. That one's going to go. 3-run home run. Alec Bohm to start the night.
Phillies baseball, Friday night at 6:35. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Bob Casey is lying to seniors. Listen to this whopper.
We're lowering prescription drug costs. Lowering prescription drug costs?
Not even close. Prices for medications are soaring. Casey's had nearly 2 decades in Washington. He hasn't fixed it. He's made it worse. Casey even voted for higher taxes on seniors' Social Security benefits. That's right, Casey pushed higher taxes on seniors. Casey also voted for a bill that could raise out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors. Seniors are already struggling with sky-high prices. But instead of helping, Bob Casey is trying to fool seniors and hide his failed record. Casey has had nearly 20 years in Washington. What's he given us? Higher costs and higher taxes. That's the real Bob Casey. He's wrong for Pennsylvania. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
All right, it's Dom Giordano show. Dan, a little, we don't have that Dale guy, the fact checker. Could you fact check? I'm not sure is this a federal case in California? The other one was here in Wilmington, right? Meaning Joe Biden can pardon him, which he will. Or is this a state case? Is part of it a state case here? All right, so we'll see if that's the case, or if Hunter Biden can walk with pardoning from Joe Biden. Now that Biden has been taken out, that's an interesting observation here. All right. So that could, okay. President Trump, too, today's theme, speaking at the Economic Club of New York about what he'll do around the economy. Don't know this will come up much during the debate, other than those Trump tax cuts were just for the wealthy. What nonsense. But 855-839-1210, that's how you get on board here. This Russian stuff yesterday, we thought it would be a blip on the screen, but they're going all out with this again. And the argument is these influencers wouldn't have influenced or tried to influence around all this. Look, these guys are going to say what they were going to say along these lines anyhow. And they were duped to a degree. They were getting big money, not worrying about where it was coming from necessarily. Okay, let's mark that up. Let's be aware of this with the Russians. What about the Chinese? What about the Iranians? What actions are we taking there? All right, Will has an example of this, I think. Will in Philly's next on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Will, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good.
So last week they arrested Linda's son, who works for the Cuomo and Hochul administrations in New York. And I saw a clip of her where she's pushing diversity and equity and all that. And we know she's working for the Chinese, who do not believe in equity and diversity. So that's a clear example to me that the Chinese are trying to push something that they themselves do not believe in. And they're not pushing it because they think it's good for us.
Well, the best example is what they push, which is TikTok. What's shown to their own kids is uplifting, inspirational. What's shown to our kids is go out there and kill yourself and kill somebody else while you're at it.
Construction of role models. There's a reason why China's version of TikTok, Douyin, is so different from the version they send to the rest of the world. If you're a child under the age of 14 in China, Douyin shows you the educational videos like science experiments and museum exhibits, with the rest of Chinese TikTok showing hardworking everyday civilians helping their country and sacrificing for the greater communist good. And yet, if you're that same child in the United States, TikTok shows you sex, vandalism, crime, social disruption, and other dopamine-satisfying degenerate clips. And when
all right, so Will, Dan just happened to have that at his fingertips. Your point is well made. Isn't TikTok the best example? Yeah. So are you on board? Are you on board? Are you at 3 for 3? You know, in Philadelphia, we're 4 for 4 with the pro teams. I'm 3 for 3. Putin, animal. Chinese, the existential threat. Iranians, maniacal. All three.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Will, on the side question, can you think of a villain who was more interesting maybe than the good guy?
Well, I think the Joker.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. The Joker's definitely a villain. Definitely. Is it Joaquin Phoenix? Is that the one I saw the other night? That version of Joker. Just the dancing. Nobody can overdo things like he can as far as the movements and the whole. Oh, my God. And the Joker in the Batman movie, I don't think that was him again, is what do you want? And there's nothing he wants that will satisfy him. That's what the point is. Doesn't stop Batman from throwing him around, though. All right, 855-839-1210. Mark in Philly's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Mark, afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. So I'm going to admit defeat because the Joker is like probably the best answer, Joaquin Phoenix. But I have an answer, and that's Dexter.
Oh.
So he's the good and the bad kind of.
Yeah, well,
know what I mean?
My wife, Ro, is the peaceful one in the family by far, and yet love Dexter.
My wife is the leftist, and I'm like in the middle, so we're always fighting.
Yeah, but I hear you. But look, Mark, Ro, I never saw a part of Dexter. She can't explain why.
Ro is the sweetest woman. Is that concerning that your wife is sympathetic to a serial killer?
Hitman, you got to watch it.
No, but seriously, Dom, you got to watch it. Like the first couple seasons, really good. The last season's notorious for being one of the worst last seasons of all time. But really good answer too, Mark. I might like that better than the Joker personally.
Yeah, the Joker's not home free yet. There's a lot of them there.
Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, very much. That helped, too. The love you guys. That always helps. Yeah, but Dexter is a good one. All right, so think of somebody who's a villain / maybe more an anti-hero, more interesting than the good guys. I mean, usually in any film, I'm thinking one of Wolf of Wall Street. The main character is more interesting, or is it? I like it when the FBI guy brings him down at the end. So I like the good guy in that. Man, the FBI, the good guy? That's rare. All right, 855-839-1210.
Here's another one. I mean, this is kind of out of the box, but Blake from Glengarry Glen Ross, not known as who's supposed to be the good guy by any means, but often the most remembered of that film with the ABC Always Be closing speech. And
yeah, well, he's the most, that's Alec Baldwin, yeah. He's the most memorable.
Most interesting. I wouldn't say I was rooting him on.
Yeah, right. No, he's the worst in some ways, and Al Pacino is a really interesting character in that. And Jack Lemmon usually does not play a weaselly character at all. He's a great actor, Jack Lemmon. He won the Academy Award, but not for that.
We haven't even opened a big Pandora's box yet, Dom.
Someday, when that day never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me.
Yeah. No, I would say villain. You know, the explanation of, well, he wasn't going to let someone else pull the strings. And I'm sensitive with the Italian thing, Dan, because I've heard that growing up in South Philly. Oh, you don't know these guys well. Yeah. They're bumps. I mean, they don't want to work.
Paulie won't see him no more.
So what's easier? Kill a few people once a month and you don't have to work. All right. Linda Kearns is on the scene again, our go-to, our Secretary of Defense. I asked her a question about a case that just came down today, but she sent me another case in Chester County, and she made a great point in what she sent me. Are you on board when we're telling you that Republicans are all over this stuff? I mean, are you defeated? I know these people carried around, well, what about this? What about that? Do you want to win, or deep down, would you rather just complain about Democrats the rest of your life? I mean, your motto has to be, I don't care what you do. I know what I'm going to do every day. To the best of my ability on my watch, we're going to fight you over everything at every point in time. I don't see any point in time where we're going to have this reaching across the aisle and a kumbaya moment. Because on the big things, we see, on the little things, on the big things, we see what they're going to do. You know exactly the best example, tagging out Joe Biden and tagging in Kamala Harris. Perfect example. All right, so it's 855-839-1210, but we'll take more of your calls. Dexter is a great one, and so is Joker. But hit us with a more interesting villain, maybe, than the supposed good guy. Or anti-hero.
Here's an interesting one from Leslie Fishapine, Leslie and Bryn Mawr. How about, from real life, an anti-hero that you can't help but cheer on, Bill Maher?
Oh, she thinks Bill Maher is an anti-hero.
Well, you think about it, the guy's liberal, but he's willing to speak out against the liberals. And
his person, look, Dan, I am very friendly with, I'd say that's over the top, friendly. He is the one thing that's off-putting and off-puts Roe, the religious stuff. He can't control himself.
No doubt about that.
Aside from that, there's a lot to like about him. And if you knew him a little bit more, you would. But the religious thing is so off-putting. It's just brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Just,
And I think that's what makes him somewhat of an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Well, definitely anti-hero to a lot of conservatives.
Well, I think there's fraud, too. When I met him in person down here at Broad and Poplar, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this isn't Bill Maher. He's not that thin and he's not that short. My God. I saw him stand up on TV the other night, and you could tell the size then. I think people think he's about 5'10". I think he's about 5'6". It's,
Yeah, go look at Twitter. It's on there, the picture.
Yeah, not that I have a thing about taking pictures with people that look better than me or taller than me. Just a word out there, Dan, about the picture taking. Remember, you don't enforce that on Don Trump Jr. night, right? Anybody taller, tanner, and looks better than me, particularly better hair, they don't get to take a picture. You got that? You write that down?
Yeah.
Yep. If you want to take a picture with them, that's on you. I think some 6'10" guys coming there, so we'll see how you like it. 855-839-1210. we did that once as a side question. Someone you would never want to take a picture with because you can't look as good as they do. You just can't. Let's talk batteries plus bulbs. Two big stores, Mount Laurel and Northfield. My friend Roy, we've told you about him for years. A lot of you have gone. When you have, needs of batteries plus bulbs, but also you need some kind of technological help, tech, phone, anything. The stuff that people have brought that they've been able to fix, their motto, they power it, they light it, they fix it. But guess what? The demand of customers is so great, they need some more help. And that's always a good sign. We're happy to help. Roy needs a handy do-it-yourselfer would be ideal. Great low-pressure part-time job. Customer service. Think about that. That is the mantra every day. So if you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk with Roy. If you're in business or personal, you have any kind of phone issue, tech issue, you're looking for an energy audit to make sure everything's okay, you cannot go anywhere else but the batteries plus bulbs. Give Roy a call at 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield, 856-638-0778.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The exclusive crash-proof retirement system continues to be tried, true, and proven by over 5,000 crash-proof consumers.
I am Nancy Harding. This is my husband, Robert. With the crash-proof system, we are inflation-proof.
To offset inflation, we could take more cash out. The rest of our system will continue to grow.
And at a faster rate than we take it out. It makes his sleep, hence my sleep, so much better.
Tom Herr, and this is Susan Herr, Norvon, Pennsylvania. The crash-proof system is fighting inflation for us. When prices do go up, we still have income coming in. And even though we're using money, we're still making more money. And at the end, we have more money than we started with.
We have those resources to make our life in retirement much more comfortable.
And we can sleep at night.
Yes, definitely.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on Tuesday, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
If it's been a minute since you've considered an Infinity, well, it's time to take another look. Head over to Infinity of Westchester today and secure rates as low as 4.99% on Infinity certified pre-owned models. And this month, take advantage of amazing offers on new Infinities during our end of summer event. Don't wait. Visit us in-store at Infinity of Westchester today or visit us online at infinityofwestchester.com. Philly rides with us.
Tomorrow's 7:10 Phillies Marlins game can be heard on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Phillies are on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT tomorrow.
Of course, we all need to save a little cash, especially during back-to-school season. Saving money on your utility bills is a great start. Sign up for the C&C Heating and Air Conditioning Maintenance Plan. Minimize the wear and tear on your system and lower your energy bills this winter. If your HVAC needs replacing, C&C makes budgeting for a new system a snap with 0% financing options. Schedule an estimate today with C&C Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York certified comfort experts. Start saving today. Visit cc-hvac.com.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
The dry weather pattern remains in place through the rest of the work week. Mixture of sunshine and clouds today, still comfortable with a high of around 80. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And for Friday, a little bit more humid, partly to mostly cloudy, with a high again near 80.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, time to your Dano Show. Today's side question, a villain who's more interesting than the good guy, Craig Stocker, has been suggested. All right, 855-839-1210. Linda Kearns is such a great resource here. Not so much just what she's doing on the front lines, but hopefully shaking you up to realize, as much as we're vigilant of all the nonsense they're doing, the Kamala Harris poster this week and a million other things, it's very doable to defeat them and then continue to ferret out every dirty trick, everything that they've done and gotten away with up until now. So let's go to Linda Kearns, Pennsylvania Election Integrity Counsel for the RNC. Linda on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Linda, thanks for coming back. And I liked your answer on this Butler County case that came down. Give me a sense of what's going on, how arcane some of these rules are. But you mentioned a Chester County case that's just been won, and it's something important, but it's also showing people how many days in a row do we go where Republicans in Pennsylvania and across the country are bringing these things up. They figured it out, and they're winning.
Absolutely, Dom. I don't know if Dan told you, I'm in Union Station. I was here in D.C. because I was preparing for oral argument in a case on non-citizens on Pennsylvania voter rolls. It's in the Third Circuit next week. So I'm calling you from Union Station. So if it's a little noisy, I really apologize.
Okay. You know what? That's a big deal here. And is the idea is you're trying to get them to verify that illegal people will not be able to vote. Their policy, at least, is to dissuade that.
Yep, we had a great mock oral argument this morning to prepare, so we're going to argue that next week in Philadelphia right after the debate, the day after the debate. And I did want to mention to you that I don't want my picture taken, your side question, next to you and Dan, because you two are so handsome. I mean, I would just look terrible next to the two of you.
Well, we were going to tell other women not to take the picture next to you, but here's the outrageous quote of the day. Mike Opelka tells Dan, well, that means he won't be taking a picture with me then. No, I don't think so. He can take a bunch of pictures.
Well, Opelka likes to stir things up. Yeah. But I did want to come on, even though I'm in the train station, because the voters have to understand that we're working on all these issues. The Chester County case, it was an open records case about transparency, about seeing the envelopes from the mail-in ballots, and that was a win. And the judge ordered, yes, we can see those envelopes, and the county shouldn't redact them. So I want voters to understand.
Let me slow you down there, Linda, before you get to the big point. Sure. Why in the world would Chester County want to redact the envelopes? What's their argument?
Well, I will tell you that, as people might know, we have what's called a right-to-know law in Pennsylvania, an open records law.
Right.
I fondly refer to it as the right not to know, because every time you ask for something, it comes back with all sorts of redactions and reasons why they can't give it to you, and then you have to go to the next level. And so that's just kind of commonplace, and it's incredibly, incredibly frustrating. But voters should know that that's a win. That's a win for our side. And, you know, the Butler County case, as I said to you when you asked me about it earlier today, it's just another example of just the chaos from this election code. But the election code in Pennsylvania is a long-term problem. The short-term problem is getting voters out to vote, because we're going to win based on turnout. And that's what voters need to know.
Yes, without a doubt. And they should not feel, no matter what, you're a shining example. Michael Watley is in there in the RNC because his specialty is integrity of elections. So it's not just the mail-in ballot. We're fighting a game, and we're winning on this. And I will tell you, I would bet anything, Linda, and I think you would too, that the Democrats don't have anything like the Zuckerbucks this time around that we don't know of, and they're going to spring on us. What they're going to do, though, is they're going to fight tooth and nail in Philadelphia, the usual tactics that are not transparent, and then you on Election Day will be going to war around that to try to have eyes on everything.
Right. Well, I'm recruiting people at protectthevote.com. I already have the maximum amount of lawyers I'm allowed by law scheduled for Election Day. They're all scheduled. My schedule's all made for Election Day to observe the mail-in ballots. So I want your voters to know that. And last night I was on our webinar training voters on protectthevote.com. Rick Santorum, Senator Rick Santorum, he was our special guest. He introduced us, and voters asked questions. And some of the questions were about Governor Tweeter, or otherwise known as Governor Shapiro, who spends more time tweeting than governing the Commonwealth. They were asking about some of his tweets, and they felt that they were misleading. And I just assured them that we have people working on all this, and just don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Nothing update, because I know you and you know me on this too, and we have a mutual. I think Joe of South Philly was at the Trump event in Harrisburg last night. So we still want to get to the bottom of who did this and were they resourced in any way to put up all those posters.
I am waiting for Al Schmidt to put on his fact-checking website, fact check, false. The Philadelphia Eagles did not endorse Kamala Harris. Like, where is that fact check? And whoever did that, I don't know if they realized that the message would be, no, the Philadelphia Eagles do not endorse her, and they vehemently came out with it. So I think that backfired on them. I also want listeners to know we have Chairman Whatley's coming to town on Monday with Pam Bondi. We have a Protect the Vote event in Montgomery County. If you go to my Twitter, I put the link on it to sign up to go and see Chairman Whatley and Pam Bondi, and we're going to have a training. And if you go to that event page, you'll see that I have a special guest scheduled to introduce Chairman Whatley. So I'm not going to say who it is, but I want everyone to go and sign up, and then you can see who it is.
All right, Dan, you got to go there right now. We got to see who that is.
Very special guest, and we all know him very, very well. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. And I just need the voters to go to protectthevote.com, TrumpForce47.com. I have so many interested patriots, but I always need more.
All righty. Thank you, Linda. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Don.
Linda Kearns here on Talk Radio 1210, 855-839-1210. You'll get on board. Hey, it's time for the Rescue Natural Supplement Labor Day sale, the ultimate celebration of savings and well-being. Right now, all Rescue supplements are slashed up to 70% off. Plus, enjoy free shipping. So whether you're searching for immune support, joint care, heart health, or a youthful glow, Rescue Health Essentials are there for everyone. Take a break. Celebrate your workplace achievements with savings on a probiotic, omega-3s, multivitamins, and a lot more. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE. 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant, or you can shop online at res-q.com, res-q.com. Celebrate Labor Day with 30 to 70% off. Again, all Rescue products are slashed up to 70% off site-wide. No codes needed. Just call or go to res-q.com to get this great Labor Day deal. Start feeling like a new you with Rescue.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
What was it that drove you? Is it kind of like a family legacy?
My great-grandfather, Anthony Carpinella, part of the greatest generation. He's a World War II Navy veteran. That did help in my decision to serve.
TMF is going to be kicking off their 17th annual 9/11 Heroes Run. Are you yourself participating in those?
The ruck is what I participate in.
Keep up the great work, Sean.
Excellent. I hope to see you there. And thank you so much for everything that you do. Greatly appreciate it.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Wawa has new Southwest flavors like the roasted chicken fajita veggie quesadilla.
Fajita veggies?
Or the beefsteak burrito with salsa roja.
Salsa roja? Love.
You can also add fire-roasted corn and crispy jalapenos.
No way. All from Wawa.
Oh, you bet. Wawa's always keeping things fresh. And this time, it's with delicious Southwest flavors. Try them in a burrito, bowl, or quesadilla, and build it just how you like it. Gotta have a Wawa.
The sensational Sarah McLachlan, live in Atlantic City, celebrating 30 years of fumbling towards ecstasy, performing the album in its entirety, plus her greatest hits, for one incredible night, with special guest, Tiny Habits, live at Borgata Hotel Casino and Spa, Friday, October 25th. Get tickets now at theborgata.com.
You've got lots of home projects to tackle.
Luckily, the plumbing and electrical experts at Horizon Services are here to help. From fixing leaky pipes to upgrading landscape lighting, Horizon has your back. And right now, get $50 off any plumbing or electrical repair. Same-day service, expert technicians, and a job done right the first time. Need a plumber or electrician today? Visit horizonservices.com, and Horizon's help is on the way.
At Wawa, you can always find the right drinks for the right time. And Wawa's pumpkin drinks are back sooner than ever, so you can enjoy the best of summer and fall. Enjoy a pumpkin brulee milkshake by the pool. Sip a pumpkin cheesecake smoothie while skateboarding. Or take a pumpkin spice iced coffee on a camping trip. At Wawa, anytime is drink time. And now's the time to feel cool and cozy with Wawa's new pumpkin flavors. Available in milkshakes, cream smoothies, and iced coffee. Gotta have a Wawa.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
All Dom Giordano listeners, follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, it is Dom time. Welcome in. President Trump, in the economic remarks, says that Elon Musk has agreed to lead a government efficiency commission. Oh man.
Oh, that's gonna.
Oh,
yeah.
man. I don't know that that's a plus, Dan. Does that win voters over, really?
Like a government efficiency commission, as in like efficiency as in, making things work within government, or efficiency as in like energy?
No. In government.
Okay.
To try to take over. I mean, I think he'd be pretty good at it, but I think, look, our listeners love it because he's a main player. He's about freedom of speech. But I don't know that Elon Musk has a favorable rating across the board. The voters you have to reach.
The thing that concerns me with Elon is there's so much that he does with commodities and such that I feel there's too much potential for corruption. Like with SpaceX, if he's within the government, if he pushes for NASA funding of SpaceX, does that become some big issue?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there would be conflict. He's so big, you can't keep him out of conflict. But would he be relentless on government efficiency? Yeah. I think he'd shake things up. Imagine this cabinet. Elon Musk, RFK Jr. Oh, my goodness. It would be revolutionary.
Well, I think this might be a result of everyone, yelling that once Elon took over X, it's going to be driven into the ground and fail. And then it seems that's not the case. He's running it very efficiently. Seemingly. Yeah. Besides the whole.
I like what he's doing. It puts a big player
Brazil
in the
situation.
game extremely. I'm not sure financially how well it's doing, but you know what? He knows they're going to try to kill him because he's got one of the biggest players in the game imaginable. Have you come back around, or are you still with that on Brazil? I still think it's that he. It's not just having a representative there, Dan. They want him to silence, as I think Twitter did before him, the more conservative or right-wing people in Brazil against the current government. I think that's what it's about. And he's been an absolutist on this. He's been even-handed. He lets people on Twitter. I mean,
it all stems from free speech. I mean, initially started because the Brazil government was trying to pull some free speech funkery.
Right.
So Elon pulls out of the country. Brazil says, hey, wait, if you're going to pull completely out of your country, you're not allowed here to operate without a legal representative. Elon says, well, screw you guys. I don't even want a legal representative in your country.
Right.
They say, well, if you're not going to put a legal representative, then you're banned.
And have you seen the difficulty the NFL has with broadcasting from there, et cetera? Not the TV thing. That seems to be set. Look, it's a dangerous place they're going into. And I wonder, I don't think the commentators, Dan, are going to say that. And isn't it kind of far-fetched, too? Is football going to take off in a place like Brazil? I mean, where has football taken off other than in the United States? I don't know. Mexico?
Yeah, there's some. Like, I was talking to a cab driver when I was down there in Cancun, and he's like, yeah, football's really grown here, and he's excited he was going to go see a game in Mexico City. I'm like, is this something that's just you? Or he's like, no, Sundays, people gather to watch the games here in Mexico. Okay.
They might be American expatriates, but around the edges.
A lot, I would guess, yeah.
Around the edges. But is it worth it to go to a place where you're at risk?
Let me propose this to you. I mean, you're 100% with Brazil, but if you're the NFL and you've monopolized an entire industry here in America, and there's no growth opportunities here left in America, what's the only option to continue growing your business is to bring it international?
Well, but I would say this. Do you have an obligation to not put your people at risk, to not make stuff miserable here?
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the game is
there
on.
There are many countries throughout the world that we could expand to before Brazil that's much safer,
Yeah, I mean, the game is on locally, so that's good. You just don't have to go to Peacock, but nationally you have to go to Peacock. And the Eagles are kind of giving up a home game, as I understand it here, right? Because one year you get the 9 home games. The next year you only get 8. It goes AFC, NFC, I think.
So they're giving up the home game, but there is a significant home field advantage, allegedly, that they will be having down there.
Which is?
Well, both the home crowd is going to be allegedly cheering them on because they're wearing the colors of the home soccer team, and then also the locker rooms that I brought up the other day, in which the home team locker room is completely silent so they can focus, whereas the away team locker room is not only loud, but it's sometimes funnel sound in to make the away team, unable to concentrate.
And the NFL's okay with that. That's
I
interesting.
think that's how it's going to be working out. That's what I heard over at the WIP.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know.
It seems like a cover to give up. Probably down the road, if the Eagles are caught up in something and it's marginal, the NFL will say, yeah, we remember you gave up the home game. Don't worry about it. Something like that will happen. Maybe a referee looks, 855-839-1210. Who's the favorite, though? I haven't seen the line on this yet. It's probably the Eagles, right? Since they're the home team, to your point. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. Ray Dininger will be here tomorrow at what time?
12:30.
12:30.
Yep.
Ray Dininger tomorrow to break this down. And we'll also have the side question tomorrow will be something associated with South America. Be thinking about that. We want some really good ones. All right, coming up, big 1 o'clock hour. Speaking of football, that's why I kind of got on this. The Nation, which is a very progressive magazine website, the dark side of the Democratic Party's embrace of football. They don't like it. They think football is hyper-masculinity. When they see Schultz there, they think hyper-masculinity. Oh, my God. All right, straight ahead with Dom here on Talk Radio 1210.
We don't care who you vote for in the upcoming election. You know why? Because this is not a political ad. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group meet with people every day wondering if they should be doing something different with their money because it's an election year. At Retire Ready Financial Group, we want you to know where your money is, how it's performing, and if the market does go down, how does it affect your retirement? We call it a portfolio snapshot, and we do it at no charge. Our goal is for you to have confidence as you enter retirement, confidence to spend, and confidence that you won't run out of money. Let's vote those election worries right out of your retirement. For your complimentary portfolio snapshot, call 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or go to retirereadyfg.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
What's on the menu for football season? Pork, of course. Get ready for game day with Hatfield and put some pork on your fork. Elevate your kickoff cuisine and halftime feast with Hatfield's winning lineup of marinated pork tenderloins, pork loin fillets, ground pork and sausage, bacon and ham. Whether you're the tailgate king or gridiron gourmet, Hatfield helps you savor the taste of victory. Visit simplyhatfield.com for play-by-play menu inspiration. Find your flavor with Hatfield.
Roofing or siding issues? Don't wait. Call Emmons Roofing and Siding. We provide comprehensive roofing and siding services with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction. And our warranties ensure peace of mind for you and your family.
Protect your home with the best warranties available in the industry.
Call Emmons at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
To inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-246-0553. 800-246-0553. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-246-0553.
California Psychics was great. Gosh, I got everything I can imagine from my reading.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. In fact, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. So we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free.
She told me something about my love life that I needed to hear. I do feel better about my relationship from what she told me. I feel like I'm on the right path.
Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20, which means you could soon be taking a romantic stroll down the right path, too. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get $5 off with code RADIO5 when you download the app.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time. You got the side question today. I just saw this on Twitter, and I love the idea of the villain or the anti-hero is more interesting. You're rooting for them somewhat. You're all mixed up. Than maybe the good guys. They're kind of too blah. It's hard to come up with a good guy that's exciting many times. We told you that President Trump and now people all over the place. I mean, I love having someone incredibly relentless in charge of government efficiency, rooting out all the... Can you imagine, Dan, and if they sent us in there in the first half hour, looking at the paper and going, wait a minute, you spent $1 trillion on widgets. Bring them in here. Explain. Can't. Next. I don't know that it takes Elon Musk. And Elon Musk has a lot of unfavorables. I just saw coming to Pennsylvania to Pittsburgh. Oh, man. Kamala Harris is small, Dan. She projects bigger. She jumped up to kiss John Fetterman on the cheek. Oh, my goodness.
She's only 5'4", huh?
If
you think that's being generous?
Yeah, being generous. She's got heels, remember? That big time heels.
It first said 6'7", then I realized I was looking at the wrestler Kamala and not Kamala Harris.
But jumping up to Fetterman, I mean, he is a big guy. Slightly taller than you, I'd say, or almost, but enormous, It'd be interesting to see that.
Yeah, Fetterman's 6'8".
6'8".
Yeah.
Well, you're right there. You're allowed. I mean, I like that 6 1/4.
Like
so
six,
you get
like 6'7".
You only need 1/10 of an inch to be 6'8".
3/4.
Yes. Okay. The analysis: the Harris tax plan would cost $20 billion, among other things. We'll talk with our guy on all that economic stuff at 2:00 today. But the school shooting, even though they moved past this a bit, just wanted to make this comment. We're trying to get on one of the architects of this. He was stopped yesterday, killed 2 teachers. It's unclear whether he targeted them and 2 students, or they were just the targets of opportunity, okay? One was helping students get out, so maybe that's why he did it. They are going to try him as an adult. I would be fine if they give him the death penalty. I'll tell you that clearly and now. I know it'll never happen even in Georgia, but it's time to get serious about this stuff. The parents, rigorous investigation. Did he get the weapon there? Did they keep them locked? The whole thing. And the FBI, again, quote, on the radar screen. They interviewed him last. Here's the thing. What ought to come out of this, Dan? The one good thing, then I'll tell you the local thing on this. The one good thing that should come out of this is this. If we're serious, and we're not, we ought to go back. I would bring in the FBI. We want to know, and it's not to impugn them. I'm going to tell you, we would bring them in. What happened in this 2023 interview with the father and the kid? He was on the radar screen, online threats. And then the question becomes this. Tell us explicitly in this case what you were unable to do that you would do. And then we'll have to decide, is that something as a society we would give them power to detain this kid and to go further? In other words, rather than just, well, it was on the radar screen, can't do anything. Aren't we tired of hearing that? They knew this kid was a problem, or they had they knew it. What law restrained them, or what is it that did not allow them to do anything with this? Tell us what that is. Let's get serious. Let's drill down on that. Then we'll have to say, well, you know what? There are certain rights here. They didn't have as much probable cause as we'd like. What else could they have done? Or we'll say, okay, here's what we need to debate. This happens time and time and time again. So I'm not just saying the FBI is incompetent in this. I don't know. I mean, my suspicion is many times they are. But what is it in that interview? We're going to blow past it, though, until the next one that happens. The other part of this is the school resource officer is the one who was armed and got to that part of the building. And when he identified himself and said what was going to happen, the kid gave up. Now, Pennsylvania passed a law in the middle of that budget stuff that every school district, as I understand it, gets a stipend to train a school resource officer and pay them. I think it's $50,000 a year. The school board then decides whether or not that resource officer will be armed. They have to be trained in how to deal with weapons, but the school board then gets to decide whether they'll be armed. Okay, I don't know that most people are aware of that. It was kind of a backdoor thing that happened. Are you aware of it? Have you been asking your school board? They ought to bring it up. They ought to tell the public what they think about this. They should vote on it. They should take a position. As far as I know, that's not happening because apparently there are so many loopholes out there, such difficulty, even when we knew this kid was a problem and the family was suspect with the weapons. Either we were incompetent or we couldn't, within the law, the FBI couldn't do anything else about it. We need to know these things rather than blowing past it. All right, once we know that, why would the local school board be against an armed resource person? Now, Philadelphia's against it because they're against the Second Amendment. That's the reason there. But how about these suburban school districts? Central Bucks will be against it because they're progressives. But that's where these things are happening. This was another example in Georgia. So the way to deal with this is to take a look at what we're doing when we have some sense of a problem. And almost every time we do. And then 2, if we don't stop it at that level, what's our backup, which is a person there that can use deadly fire to take this kid out. All right, 855-839-1210. But again, we blow past it, we get to the next one, and then we go through this cycle all over again. All right, we got a lot of people on the side question. I'm coming to you, 855-839-1210. Nation, the Nation Online. All right, this is a very progressive outlet. Headline: The dark side of the Democratic Party's embrace of football. The hypermasculinity and violence of football connects to Kamala Harris's bellicose convention speech. What? It could repel younger voters. So what they're saying is that younger voters, younger than Dan even, like let's say 18 to 25-ish, are going to be repelled.
What world is this person living in?
This is the premier. I would say the nation's 1, 2, or 3. The premier.
What?
Over the last 50 years, Dan.
What
Progressive
a stupid
outlets.
article.
Yeah. Well, I think they believe it. Why are we engaging in that? And I think this is the smartest move that Democrats are making. One of the smartest moves, and the media is allowing them to get away with it. We're being sold that this dumpy clown is the epitome, Schultz, the wall, the Great Walls of China, is the epitome of what men are supposed to be. It's amazing how they've cobbled this together. And they're very smart to try to own the NFL, the most popular thing out there, bar none. So are they right, though, that progressives will be repelled by this? No, I think the media will never bring that up. Yeah, you think the media is going to say to Walls, Dan, well, what about all these guys with CTE and all? You know, now, Walls came to rural Pennsylvania yesterday. Listen to this headline from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Tim Walz talks whoopie pies, pumpkins, and little about policy. That was it. That's what this guy says. He's talking about whoopie pies out here again. How much can you eat? How many milkshakes can you be walking around with? All right, so which party obviously owns more of the NFL? I think Democrats know that it's Republicans. They're trying to get their slice
of
this.
I think at this point, with all the kneeling and all, the NFL might be the Democrat, where the NCAA with the football, SEC and the bigness of that might be the Republican.
The college football, yeah. So here's the thing I was going to ask, Dan. Here's a group I cannot understand in Philadelphia, and they're not just in Philadelphia, they're suburbanites. These people that go to Eagles games, rabid Eagles fans, okay? And yet they're still Democrats. The two just don't match up to me, how that could be. Are they just union guys, and that's why they're a Democrat, because it's a union and that's it? And they go along with all this nonsense because the Democrat Party, this column, the dark side of the Democrat Party's embrace of football, I mean, they'll pretend to embrace the NFL, but to Dan's point, is that they like athletes kneeling? They can get into that? What is it that attracts them, and yet they still vote for Democrats? I mean, white males are an extinct species. There are 100 species in the Democrat Party, white straight males. There's no doubt. That's why they think Walls is such an antidote to this. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All we need you to do is just push pound 1210, and we'll get you on board. Take a couple of your calls coming up. Something I hope comes up in the debate, I'm starting to hear stuff that it might. ABC will not bring it up, but President Trump might be the one to kind of slip it in there. By the way, Don Jr. making a good bit of news, making the point, these Walz family members are out there. They're condemning this guy. They're saying this guy is a creep, essentially. Walz, Tim Walz. They get almost no media play, almost none. Even Fox doesn't really have them on. Yet Mary Trump, John McCain's son, who is it now? The nephew of Donald Trump, Mary Trump particularly. Boy, it's like J.D. Vance created her. She looks exactly what he's talking about. She's on all over the place critiquing psychologically Donald Trump. She's been on hundreds and hundreds of times around this. Why don't we hear from the Walz family? Well, the media is kind of saying, well, they're just kind of cousins of his.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
You think if we had the nephew of Tim Walz, they're going to give him premier time to tell us the real Tim Walz?
So we'll line up RFK's third uncle in a press conference and cover that live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're going to interview the bear. Yeah. 855-839-1210. Oh, that didn't give me a chance, Dan. I saw Marcus Aurelius say that, what about Cool Hand Luke? That'd be a great answer. Cool Hand Luke is one of my favorite anti-heroes ever. You run once, you're going to get one set of chains. You run twice, you're going to get another.
Now, let me ask you, are you only bringing it up so you can do the impression?
That's right. You're not going to run a third time. The man with I could go watch Cool Hand Luke right now. Oh, my God. He is a great anti-hero. Well, and the prison people are seen as the bad guys. Dan, did you see Cool Hand Luke?
No.
The scene
Wait,
where
did I just watch Cool Hand Luke?
Where they're going to break him.
I just watched Dirty Harry.
You've been working on the chain gang all week. You're hoping Saturday, finally, you make it to that. They have him dig a hole and just keep on digging. Then one of them comes out and says, Luke, what are you putting dirt in Boss Borowski's hole for? I don't know, boss. Fill it in. And he starts to dig the other hole, and then the other guy comes and says the same thing to him.
Any impressions there, Jim?
Jim, you got any from Cool Hand Luke?
Oh.
No. He's coming up empty.
Unfortunately, I like Dan, have never seen the movie.
Oh, okay. I feel much better now.
What's your top impression right now? What's most in demand, Jim, for all the gigs you do and everything else?
I'm trying to think of what my most top
It's got to be
impression.
with the Eagles returning.
Yeah, the Eagles returning.
Eagles returning, definitely. But when I'm on a gig, I really don't do a lot of impressions.
So you think Merrill Reese has something special for the big Brazil game?
Well, let me tell you something like this, Tom. All I can say is, get me out of here.
Sponsored by PNC Bank.
There's no PNC Bank here, Tom. There's no McDonald's. There's no Ford dealership. All it is just coffee. Remember what Frank Sinatra once said? They've got an awful lot of coffee in Brazil.
So I don't know if the listeners are aware. I know you are, Dom, but during my wedding, I asked Jim to be kind enough to introduce our entire wedding party as the voice of Merrill Reese. Are you telling me that's not something you commonly do, Jim? I figured you'd...
No, not really.
These people are missing something.
When I'm DJing, a lot of times I don't do a lot of impressions unless it just comes to mind. Like I recently did a Republicans for Hope thing where I was doing Levin and Hannity, but that was about it.
Okay. All right, keep them coming, Jim. We're ready for them. 855-839-1210. That's how you get on board. Hit us on the side question. President Trump taking questions. I can just imagine Kamala Harris from the New York Economic Club today about what he would do. Look, I'm never going to be in the tank until I'm 100% on board. I'm not a tariff guy. The one exception I would give on tariffs, Trump talking about tariffs today, is in dealing with China, we got so taken by it. The only way to gain any ground back during Trump's tenure was tariffs with the Chinese. But you know, and you've studied, do we still all believe in this? That economically, then they retaliate with tariffs. It's a no-win battle to deal with that. Trump arguing we can't lose the standing of the dollar, and that's why he'd go to tariffs. I don't see Kamala Harris able to prosecute this case, but I think she's going to bring it up that if Trump is reelected, you're going to lose out because of tariffs. I think she doesn't know what she's talking about on it, but we'll see. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in on Talk Radio 1210.
Schools are opening. Labor Day weekend has passed, but we're not ready to say goodbye to summer just yet. So join Rich Zioli at his happy place, the Grand Hotel in Cape May. Be there this Friday, September 6th from 3 till 7 for great fun and guests as we hold on to summer just a little longer. Rich Zioli's at the Grand Hotel in Cape May. Tomorrow, 3 till 7 on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-649-6464 to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464.
Do you know what brand sells the most work shoes in America? Skechers. Why? Skechers has the best looking safety toe and slip resistant shoes around. They've got superior quality and simply incredible prices, but many people get them just for the style. So you can enjoy tough, steel-toed protection and slip-resistant soles anywhere, even if you don't need them for work. And since they're Skechers, you know they're going to be comfortable with Skechers' exclusive air-cooled memory foam. Find your new pair of Skechers safety toe and slip-resistant work shoes at a Skechers store, at Skechers.com, or wherever work shoes are sold.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Texting enrolls in recurring automated text marketing messages. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply. Reply help for help or stop to opt out.
Are you drinking too much? Is alcohol affecting your relationships? Could drinking be affecting your job?
Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of OrHealth. I struggled with alcohol misuse for 15 years. I tried self-help, therapy, and traditional 12-step programs, but nothing really worked. That's why I started OrHealth. OrHealth provides access to safe and effective medication, FDA approved for the treatment of alcohol issues. A daily pill proven to reduce alcohol cravings and make it easier to drink less or quit.
To join the thousands who are drinking less or who have quit altogether, text CHECK to 710-710. You'll be sent a secure link to OrHealth's private online assessment. If treatment is right for you, a licensed medical professional will prescribe medication for discreet and convenient delivery to your door. Just text CHECK to 710-710. That's CHECK to 710-710.
Not available in all states. For SMS terms, privacy policy, risk, and restrictions, please go to orhealth.com/terms. Use as directed.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. This is Jonathan Cans, third generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Have you recently had an HVAC tech at your home to fix your unit and he wanted to sell you all types of upgrades? Look, if your AC unit is acting unruly this summer and needs to be fixed, we'll send out one of our technicians to do one thing: fix your AC. And if we do think you need a new one, we'll have one of our factory-trained install teams put in a new state-of-the-art train cooling system to keep you cool. Visit us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinecans.com.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, Tom Giordano Show, 855-839-1210. You get on board. Boy, some great ones on Twitter. We're coming to yours, where you have this villain or anti-hero that is more interesting than the good guy.
No, Argus. Whoa, what are you talking about on Twitter? Joy Behar?
Joy Behar,
Not even an anti-hero, just a villain that nobody wants to like, I feel.
Hey, one little thing in my unceasing campaign, it's on the small stuff. Progressives on the big stuff, Second Amendment, abortion on demand to the 9th month, all those things. But here's an example of how it gets down at the grassroots. And the grassroots right in our area yesterday revolted. Controversial recess changes reversed after upset parents packed school board meeting in Bucks County. The headline is from the Bucks County Courier, Fox 29. A win for parents in Bucks County after their school district suddenly reverses a controversial policy to revamp recess just days after the start of the school year. Quote, my son came home on Thursday. He told me he was stuck on one part of the playground. He couldn't even go to the jungle gym, and he was stuck playing soccer for 30 minutes. Right there, that's an outrage. Maybe the kid hated soccer.
Poor kid.
In other words, apparently, this Warminster, Pennsylvania school district, what they did is, Dan, they instituted, and I've had these people on over the years, these policies in recess where you're only going to play certain games, you're only allowed in a certain part of the recess thing, rather than recess is supposed to be a time more of free play. Now, you don't want kids doing what I may have played in recess, like...
Whoa, what'd you play?
There may have been...
How many fights did you get into in school, Dom?
Not that many.
No, you were
but
a peaceful kid?
I do remember hitting my head on an open window in the school and having to go to the hospital.
Wait, how do you hit your head on an open window?
The windows opened out. They had them open even during recess
Oh, I see
time.
what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, and you run into it. It may have been a concussion there.
Oh,
it may
man.
explain a lot, yeah. But you should
explain why a couple weeks later you want to be hung upside down from a basketball.
That's another story. But the idea that you would want to manage what kids are playing at recess is just fraught with difficulty. One of the things that happens is, well, aren't you going to let this kid play? That's a tough call. You might talk to somebody like a popular kid like Dan Borowski and say, can't you include little Johnny over here?
When I was student teaching at a school in Indiana, they had a requirement that the kids had to meet on a weekly basis of amount spent on the track doing laps, either just walking or jogging.
During recess?
During recess.
See, this is
like
the
how
type
horrible
of
is
stuff.
that? And they get timed for it, and they have to meet a quota.
No, this is the type of stuff where recess is supposed to be free play, your friends, what you gravitate toward. And the parents struck back. More than 100 parents packed the gym to voice concerns over children were being separated by class, being asked to participate in certain activities, and parents never got a heads up about the change. Good for the school district. They changed it. Really upset me. One father said they were taking freedom away from my child. He should be able to spend 30 minutes of the day to calm down and take a break. Isn't that what recess is all about? The Deptford school busing, Dan, you're right. But let me give you another one. DJ found this, and it allows me to rant on about what's so bad about cash. Apparently, there is this huge group taking advantage of what I think are lazy school districts. NJ.com says many people in Jersey are complaining because you can't pay cash, even at the high school level, for school lunch. Everything is done online. And this group, this corporate entity, My School Bucks, it's called, is in so many school districts across the country. The fees that are being charged per week, they say that the conservative estimate is that families pay $42 per school year on average just in fees. Parents with more children who have money to their accounts more frequently might be far higher. Is it worth that a $325 transaction fee on a deposit of $20 or even $50? Imagine that now. So you have to put a deposit down of $20. They're charging you $325 as a transaction fee.
What is this? An ATM at Wawa?
And the thing over in Jersey says these school districts will not accept cash. Now, don't you think at a high school level kids are able to pay cash if they want to? I mean, if you want to pay online and pay all those fees, good luck with that. Do it as a parent. Why can't you pay cash?
Slows down the line, Dom.
Yeah.
It does, though.
It is that. Oh, it does. I thought you said
no. Like I remember in high school, we had like our lunches. There was lines just, 50, 60 people deep, and they had to get through as quickly as possible. So we were given cards, and we would just swipe in it to go to an account, and that's kind of how they, quantified what you got and how you paid for it.
Okay.
And we didn't. I don't think we had cash either. It was just to kind of move the line along quicker.
Yeah, but again, you got to pay the transaction fee then.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Well, that's what that's what is going to happen.
For no reason.
Right. So it should be you can pay cash if you want to. Now, if you have a line that you can pay cash in, I mean, they have cafeteria workers and all. I just think
you're saying that like toll booths where you have the cash only line.
Yes, and then you have the Easy Pass. All right, 855-839-1210. If you're a parent over in New Jersey, would love to hear or hear. The idea that you can't pay cash, you got to put down deposits, and for some, this could be $50, $60, $100 a year. Why are we paying these corporations that? Now, these are real junk fees. What's Bob Casey doing? Get him in a lunch line. It's greedflation. It's shrinkflation. You ought to be able to pay cash if you want. And if not, you want the convenience of this, you want to do all that, that's how you keep your bills, okay. Go right ahead. But then being charged, can you imagine? These are in thousands of schools across the country. Every transaction like that, they're taking in $3.25, some number like that. That adds up every day. Why are school districts doing that? Or is Dan, I just do it because this whole idea that we're moving toward a cashless society, it's preposterous. I'm not going to tell you it's conspiratorial and government control, but I'm wary of people that think you can get by without cash. You need to have cash. And we need to have cash in so many circumstances. All right, let me go to... Let's see. Let's go to the Earl of Tacony on Talk Radio 1210. Was he a winner yesterday? He was almost a winner. Hey, Earl.
Almost
good afternoon.
A
almost a winner. Hi, Earl.
The 2023 Caller of the Year.
What do you have today, Earl? Hi.
I'm back in the rotation.
Yes.
Yeah. But now you've really ticked me off. I didn't have anything for you until just now. The quality of the cashiers anymore. I was at a McDonald's a couple months ago, and I went in to ordered at the kiosk, went to the counter, and they said, we only take exact change. I said, I don't have exact change. You're kidding me, right? So I canceled my order. I went home. I got exact change. I came back, paid for the meal, waited an hour. They lost my order, and I had to pull teeth in order to get my money back.
Yeah, I mean, what's the exact change here? I mean, you're in McDonald's.
But here's where it gets really odd. Twice in the last couple of months, I've ordered something at a fast food restaurant, and the cashier says, do you want your change? And it's like, $7. It's like, what do you mean, do I want my change?
Yeah, keep the change.
I'm going to, it's bad enough I'm paying, $15 for a taco. But you're going to keep the $7 in change as well? I mean, no, yes, I want my change back.
Yeah, well, what's the over and under, Dan? Because, Dan, I don't know about you, Earl. I've only worked in a bar restaurant once, and it was packaged goods. Dan, what's the over and under where the server ought to say to you, do you want your change? When you pay them.
15%.
Okay, so, I mean, if I give you $80 and it's a $68 bill, let's say it's I give you $80 and it's a $50.
I don't think it's
bill.
ever appropriate for the server to say, would you like your change?
Oh, okay.
I think you just bring back the change and then you allow the customer to say, keep the change,
yeah.
you know?
Almost everyone says, do you want change?
Yeah, no.
All right, I mean, I can understand if it's like 2 cents. It's like, do you want your 2 pennies? It's like, a lot of people are like, no, because they always end up throwing them on the floor anyway. But, if it's 15 cents, I don't want the extra change in my pocket. I'm going to be weighted down fine. But when it's like, $7, $15, yes, I would like my change, please. I mean, I'm making good money, but I'm not making that good of money.
Who's your villain better than the good guy?
It's from the movie Die Hard. I mean, come on, Dom, Booby. It's got to be Hans Gruber.
Better than Bruce Willis's character, yeah?
Well, Bruce Willis is interesting because he's running around and he's shooting people. But I mean, Hans is just sitting there, and it's like, what's the passcode? Well, I'm not giving you the passcode. You get 3, 2, 1, and he shoots Nakatomi in the face. He shoots Ellis. I mean, he's interesting. He's suave. He's reading Newsweek and giving names to the cops that he's just making up. I mean, he's interesting.
Now, the question before you let Earl go, the expert of Christmas everywhere, is Die Hard a Christmas film?
Well, you know how I am. I say yes, Christmas. Die Hard is a Christmas film, but I also say Lethal Weapon is a Christmas film.
All right.
All right, I don't on those. It's preposterous, but that's okay. I don't know how that ever got started. All right, 855-839-1210. You get in. Got some people. The lunch thing always gets people going. I'm coming to you next. Imagine NJ.com, many of these school districts saying, no, we're not taking cash.
You blew it.
You know, that's one of the first times I saw Dan's star arrive, Dan. Truly it was, because I got to say,
grab them by the lapels and shake them like hell.
You tapped into stuff from that Cherry Hill school board, and Dan Cerrucci was some of it, but when they were arguing over what kind of sandwich does a kid get if they're behind on their lunch money. We're going to see that again this year.
But really pulled out like the tuna sandwiches and carrots, and they put it in front of the board members and all the board members. You could see their faces just sink. Like,
oh my God,
this is what we're eating. Yeah.
Are we doing that? Look, you know what the rule is. I think don't blame the kid. The kid's got to be served lunch, and I think everybody is on board with that. But many of these parents, you got to put more pressure on them. Let's go to Lindsay in Souderton. Lindsay, a good school district in my money, but maybe we'll see. Lindsay, what do you have today? Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, Dom, how you doing? I talked to you a couple times over the years during COVID lockdowns and such. So Souderton uses my school bus, and they phased it out kind of gradually, and then it really sped up during COVID. But we have 4 kids now at 2 schools, but previously at 3 schools in Souderton, and we had to pay a transaction fee for each individual building. So not only, you can't afford to deposit $100 or $200 at the beginning of the school year and just pay the fee one time. So you put it in a little at a time. But every school they were at, elementary, middle, and high school, when we had them over the span of 3 different buildings, we had to pay a fee for each one. And now they started last year that you can't even buy a ticket for the high school football game in person. You have to buy it in advance online, and they charge you like a 60-cent fee every Friday when you go to buy a ticket for the ball game.
And they won't take cash. There's no way to deal with this.
Will not take cash. And the kids are complaining about it. The parents are complaining about it. I mean, obviously all those fees goes to the vendor. It doesn't go to the school.
Yeah, no, it's not right. And it's not right because it is a junk fee. But also, this idea of removing cash, I think, sends a bad lesson to kids. I had this with one of my sons who doesn't carry cash. Dan is reluctant to do it. Cash is always king. Wait, what are you going to be out there? Hey, I got plastic here. Get out of here. I want cash.
And we've had this conversation with our kids, like, you have to learn how to make change. And I know it holds up the line. I hear Dan's point, but it's important. It's an important life skill for them to learn how to calculate what they're buying, how much going to cost, elementary school, they're little. It's a flat fee. But a lot of times in middle school and high school, it's a la carte. And if you want an extra item, you pay a little extra money. And so there's no concept of what they're paying for and how much it costs, because it's just you punch in your number and your parents pay for it.
Yeah, well, I think that Souderton, surprising to me, Lindsay, because during COVID, we thought Souderton did a great job. So I just don't know why
they really did.
Yeah, why they would adapt this type of policy. If they're listening, they can tell us.
Yeah, hopefully they will.
Well, that's what we hope. Thank you, Lindsay. Because, Dan, this is one of the favorite talk radio, the lunch stuff, particularly those that don't pay and can pay. But the idea that fewer and fewer, well, down the shore, too, we played at this miniature golf thing, as I told you, they would not accept plastic. You had to pay cash. So what are you going to do? You can't play miniature golf. Oh, well. I mean, but if you're out on the road, you're stuck. Hey, I'll give you 20. There's all kinds of circumstances where you need a little bit of cash to get you by, right?
You bring cash on the beach?
Ro does.
Yeah,
Ro's in charge of that type of thing. I don't know what I've been using it on the beach for. Hey, lifeguard over here, I want you to get.
Well, I mean, if you're in Ocean City for like boardwalk and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times those stores, I don't know if they are anymore, but they were cash only. And it's like, well, I don't want to have cash get all wet and sandy.
Yeah, we're seeing, though.
Do you bring it in the water with you, or do you leave it at the,
We bring the water, yeah. And I would say this, though, too. I hate paying that 3% fee if you use a credit card or debit. I know they have to absorb it otherwise. But how about your school district, 855-839-12? Imagine what she said, 3 school buildings and all that. That could add up to $30, $40, $50 a month. For what? For this school bucks lunch outfit. Lazy school boards again. Well, we don't want to hold up the line. Really? Come on. 855-839-1210. Let's talk about Captain Chucky's. Now, they take cash. They take credit. And they give you great stuff. Hectic schedules now, football in full swing, college and pro, viewing parties, tailgates, all great reasons to call your nearest Captain Chucky's. Let them manage your meal planning. Get the all-new wild shrimp scampi ravioli. Chucky's teaming up with Vera Pasta, offering lobster, crab, and now wild shrimp ravioli. Remember, too, order that brand-new Bang Bang Jumbo Lump Crab Cake, delicious, creamy, 5-ounce jumbo lump breaded crab cake with a kick for those who like to spice it up with some heat. Check your store for availability. Perfect time, too, to check out all of Captain Chucky's offerings. The sides, the desserts, soups coming back big time. They use only the highest quality ingredients for everything. Their Gulf shrimp is a huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. And then you have to try the one and only Dom Roll. So visit Captain Chucky's. There's got to be a location near you. They're all over the place. The website, welovecrabcakes.com. Welovecrabcakes.com. Headed to the shore still, Captain Chucky's at theshore.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and to take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hey, it's Ike Reese. These days, everything in Philly costs more. But a single line at Verizon doesn't. Get one line for as low as $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while coffee is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. And dinner for two has gotten pricey. Verizon, less pricey. Logan Square rent, that's not coming down anytime soon. But Verizon, down. One line for just $50 a month. Limited edition sneakers, through the roof. One line from Verizon, through the floor. That designer golden doodle, so much more, but Verizon, a fair bit less. Even a good old tried and true hamburger will cost you more. But with Verizon, the same tried and true service is now just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with auto pay plus taxes and fees. Point is, in a world that is always costing more, you can get more for less right now at a Philly Verizon store.
$15 promo credits applied over 36 months with the new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G, LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Mystic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
The dry weather pattern remains in place through the rest of the work week. Mixture of sunshine and clouds today, still comfortable with a high of around 80. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And for Friday, a little bit more humid, partly to mostly cloudy, with a high again near 80.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
All right, time to your Giordano show. Dr. Marty popping up. I know how busy he is. Our guy making a house call, Dr. Marty McCary, his brand new book, Blind Spots, When Medicine Gets It Wrong, What It Means for Our Health. You can order right now. It's out on September 17th. We'll get him back at the day the book's out to remind you of that. Anywhere that you can find books. And you know, throughout COVID, he was our shining light. And one of the major things we wanted to talk about was chronic disease, the RFK Jr. angle on that, and what Marty thinks about that, in addition to his book. Dr. Marty McCary from Johns Hopkins back with us on Talk Radio 1210. Dr. Marty, congratulations on the book. And you talked about this over the last couple of years. I'm sure Dr. Fauci probably figures pretty prominently in this.
Well, I don't think he's going to be sending me a Christmas card this year, but
I don't. I actually didn't talk that much about COVID in this new book. I'm really excited about the book, but it really explains how what we saw during COVID was a snapshot into a broader medical establishment that has botched the food pyramid, health and nutrition, how to prevent allergies, rising cancer rates, increased rates of autism, and of course, as you're hearing about from RFK, the childhood obesity and diabetes epidemic, which is really pretty bad.
So, Marty, I'm in the camp. Look, I like RFK, what he's saying in general. I'm buying into that. Does it go a bit too far, though? Do I seem pedestrian if I say, you know what, some of it appears to me, kids are not running around. You probably did it. I did it. You played 8 hours a day. Isn't that the causal element? Or do you go into in the book, to RFK's point, the specific things that are being put in food? What's the critical thing, and what can parents do to avoid it?
Well, it's a combination of things. Kids are more sedentary. You know, children were never designed by God to sit sedentary for 7 hours a day in a classroom and to have their circadian rhythm messed up with fluorescent lights all day long. What we've done to kids is tragic. And then the medical profession says, oh, they have attention deficit disorder. They can't sit still for 7 hours. Or they have, my favorite diagnosis is oppositional defiant disorder. In other words, a kid disagrees with an adult. We've got a medical diagnosis. And we've got the most medicated generation of kids in history. We can't keep going down this path. 40% of kids will have a mental health diagnosis by the time they turn 18 years of old. So we do have a combination of too much screen time, too much sedentary behavior. You're right, Dom. But the food supply is poisoned. It has been poisoned by Big Food and Big Ad, which has been lying to us for years, telling us there's no damage to ultra-processed foods, food additives, pesticides in foods, seed oils, microplastics, toxins, you name it. The food supply is poisoned. Just look at Japan. Only 3% of their kids are overweight or obese. We're at 50%. So we've got to take a look at the food supply and start talking about school lunch programs, not just putting every kid on Ozempic, as Pharma would like us to do.
Well, you know what, Marty, that's another book for you, too. Isn't that the newest wrinkle to this? We got you into this situation. Now we're going to get you out with another drug. It's one of the biggest of all time, is it not?
We're watching all of our chronic diseases go up, and the medical establishment, which has been captured by pharma, only really has research to support new drugs. So no one is talking about the root causes. Why have sperm counts gone down by 50% in the last 5 decades? Why is puberty in the United States earlier than any other country in the world, years before other countries? Why is it that autism rates have gone up 14% each year for the last 23 years?
Can you stop on that one, Marty, with autism, because it's such a trigger? I thought one of the reasons was we're better at diagnosing it, or we have the spectrum in doing it. But in your book, what do you say is another root cause of the autism rates?
So we are altering the microbiome, the lining of the GI tract that normally has millions of different bacteria that are living in a balance, that train the immune system. Some of those bacteria make serotonin, which is involved in mood and brain health. And we don't know the exact cause of autism, but we are doing all these things to alter the body's physiology with foreign substances. People are ingesting now 10 to 40% of their calories are things that do not occur in nature. They're foreign substances. They're chemicals. And what's happening is the body is reacting, and the microbiome is changing inside the gut. And the rise in colon cancer we're seeing in young people, people under 50, a recent study found it was more common in people who had a C-section delivery. We know C-section deliveries change the microbiome. Antibiotics that are unnecessary change the microbiome. So people need good instruction. They need to know the truth about health. We don't want to create cynicism or hysteria, but there's a balance, and people, a bunch of doctors and I are going directly to the American people to educate them about health. because C-sections and antibiotics save lives, but they're also massively overused. So people need to know the truth.
That is a tremendous example. So would you ever consider, because RFK, if Trump wins, appears to be, will have a key role inside these outfits that really need a shakeup, would you ever consider serving Dr. Marty?
I'm really interested in doing what I'm doing now, which is using my platforms to educate the public. And, you know, this book is coming out next week. It's just available for pre-order now. So I'm really focused on that book right now to try to educate the people about the biggest topics in medicine we're not talking about that we need to be talking about, what I call the blind spots.
And this goes back to the original conversations we had right from the very beginning with COVID. You were onto it, then developed research on this. Those that had the worst outcomes had the chronic disease situation that's avoidable. The connection to that, we talked about sugar, things of that nature, and things that you don't even think about. Do you lay out, or is it more alerting people, say with parents, though? What would you say a parent listening now, concerned about their kids at whatever age, can do to avoid some of the worst stuff that's out there?
Well, I don't think people, especially parents, realize just how processed our food supply is. You know, we grew up with white bread, Wonder Bread. Turns out it's so highly processed, it's functioning like added sugar. We've stripped the fiber in flour, and we've chopped up this flour into such tiny pieces it's functioning like sugar. And so we're seeing high insulin levels, pre-diabetes, at rates we've never seen before. Look at the ingredients. Try to avoid these seed oils because they're not natural, as the name suggests. The seed oils have unnatural, chemically denatured byproducts. And try to avoid the added sugar. Basically, let's get back to the biblical principles of health. Whole foods, clean meats, meditation, and communities. And there's tremendous benefits in getting back to the basics of a non-processed lifestyle.
Absolutely. Dr. Marty, thrilled for you. I mean, this has been the golden part of COVID was getting to know you, have you on over the years. So hopefully, Dan, will talk with your person and we'll get you on the day the book comes out to remind people blind spots when medicine gets it wrong, what it means for our health.
Thanks so much, Tom, and good luck to your Eagles tomorrow. And if you cheer for my Ravens tonight, I'm supporting your Eagles tomorrow.
Okay, you got it. We will do that, Dr. Marty. All right. Take care, Dr. Marty McCary with the home team down there. All right, so he's a real find. Right in the middle of COVID, we started to hear him, get him on big time. I commend the book to you and the stuff that he's been saying. The RFK Jr. thing with chronic disease is real. There's no doubt about it. What is the way to deal with that, though? That's what we're going to continue to tease out. By the way, the hunt to get RFK Jr. on is well underway. You should know that. We don't give up on this. We probably have made 500 phone calls over the course of time and texts and everything else, but we're trying. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Let's talk about Dr. Bentz, since we're talking about doctors. I've told you for years about my friend, dentist, and board-certified prosthodontist, Dr. Robert Bentz and the Bentz Dental Group. He's known for helping people overcome fear and anxiety of any sort when it comes to dentistry, to getting your teeth done correctly. My recent experience, though, is a great example. He's made dentistry easy. Yesterday, I had to take x-rays. Haven't taken them in a while. And just the device that they were using to put in your mouth, much different than what I experienced 4 years ago. Just a simple thing, much more comfortable to get the patient to feel comfortable, convenient, and to get a great outcome. And when you're there, you'll hear about the 3D printer and how the process of making your teeth to get it right the first time, the comfort level and the convenience, and the great skill and caring. Dr. Bentz is truly different. The Bentz dental experience is different. Now, to get involved in that, make that call now, 610-272-6949. Go to the website, Bentz, B-E-N-T-Z, dentalgroup.com, or call them, Tell them Dom G sent you, whatever you do, 610-272-6949.
Wawa has new Southwest flavors, like the roasted chicken fajita veggie quesadilla.
Fajita veggies?
Or the beefsteak burrito with salsa roja.
Salsa roja? Love.
You can also add fire-roasted corn and crispy jalapenos.
No way. All from Wawa.
Oh, you bet. Wawa's always keeping things fresh. And this time, it's with delicious Southwest flavors. Try them in a burrito, bowl, or quesadilla, and build it just how you like it. Gotta have a Wawa.
Tomorrow's 7:10 Phillies Marlins game can be heard on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Phillies are on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT tomorrow.
Seems everyone has an opinion on where the stock market is going, but where should you be going? Find out with Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show and meet Ike Reese.
Archbishop Wood basketball team, it's your boy Ike Reese.
That's Conklin at Wood, September 28th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com!
No one is happy to discover that the air conditioner is broken, and it always breaks on the hottest day of the summer in the middle of the night. That's why so many homeowners have Oliver's Peace of Mind membership. For as little as $13 a month, Oliver maintains your home's cooling, heating, plumbing, and electrical systems all year long. Membership also includes annual inspections, exclusive discounts on repairs and replacements, and priority emergency service. Call Oliver today or visit us online at oliverheatcool.com.
At Wawa, you can always find the right drinks for the right time. And Wawa's pumpkin drinks are back sooner than ever, so you can enjoy the best of summer and fall. Enjoy a pumpkin brulee milkshake by the pool. Sip a pumpkin cheesecake smoothie while skateboarding. Or take a pumpkin spice iced coffee on a camping trip. At Wawa, anytime is drink time, and now's the time to feel cool and cozy with Wawa's new pumpkin flavors. Available in milkshakes, cream smoothies, and iced coffee. Gotta have a Wawa.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast approaching. Apple picking, fall leaves, and chilly nights are on the horizon. With Legacy Box, you can cozy up and watch something special this fall. Your family's home movies. Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution for preserving your family's memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
All right, Dom Giordano show coming up. Dom's Money Melody, big prize, and we're going to talk with the former head of fast food giants, former CEO of CKE Restaurants, Hardee's, Carl's Jr., about Trump today speaking to the New York Economic Group and taking questions. I mean, these are the top guys grilling back and forth. I'm not on board with the Trump tariff thing. We'll see if Andrew Putzker is. Putzker. I mispronounced it again. All right. I'll get it right. He's been with us many times before, and the economic battle really centers around, face it, the Trump tax cuts. That these are critical to, I think, moving the economy. All right, that's straight ahead, big 2 o'clock hour on Talk Radio 1210.
By registering for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event, you'll see real statements from Crash Proof Retirement clients documenting how the exclusive Crash Proof Retirement system credits double-digit interest returns, even during the worst of recent stock market downturns.
Rob Lukens, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. During COVID, when everything was going down in the stock market, we saw our investment with Crash Proof grow 15%, which was unheard of. Markets weren't growing that way. The interest we made through Crash Proof's investments, we keep it. We don't lose anything. We keep every penny that we invested. The worst that's going to happen is you keep your money. Crash Proof gives me great peace of mind. And I would recommend anybody who sees this or hears this to give Crash Proof a call. Pick the phone up, call. It's simple.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on Tuesday, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
The sensational Sarah McLachlan, live in Atlantic City, celebrating 30 years of fumbling towards ecstasy, performing the album in its entirety, plus her greatest hits, for one incredible night, with special guest, Tiny Habits, live at Borgata Hotel Casino and Spa, Friday, October 25th. Get tickets now at theborgata.com.
40 days to lose up to 40-plus pounds with NJ Diet. It only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work to personalize supplements that will target your hormonal imbalances so you can lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep it off. Call Dr. T, 855-5-NJ-DIET, or go to njdiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds, 40 days up to 40 pounds, NJ Diet.
What's better than saving? Saving with certainty. Open a First Harvest Credit Union 7-month certificate online and earn 5.25% APY. Visit firstharvestcu.com/online exclusives to learn more about this online-only offer. Want more reasons why we're a better place to grow? Check out our other savings options, like our growth savings account with amazing rates. First Harvest Credit Union, serving the Delaware Valley for over 84 years. Membership restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time. Big issue today, and the difference, President Trump versus Vice President Harris, taking on the Economic Forum and Club in New York, not just speaking to them, but then taking questions from them. I mean, that's involved stuff. Announcing that Elon Musk would be in charge of government efficiency. Well, we have a guy who was in one of the most relentless businesses in the world. He's the former CEO of CKE Restaurants, which owns Hardee's and Carl's Jr.'s, and a distinguished visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Andrew Puzder joins us here again on Talk Radio 1210. Andy, welcome back to Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, there's a lot I agree with the president on this. Let me get to the one area, though. Maybe I read too much in college economics. Well, I did fall asleep in the terrible economics professor at LaSalle. But even in high school, I always remember Smoot-Hawley. I mean, it just sounded like such a great thing. That caused world difficulties, tariffs. Are you on board with that, or am I missing something? I was fine, Andy, when President Trump did that with the Chinese. There are, emergencies here because of their stranglehold. but as a policy that never ends well, does it?
Well, it depends. Depends upon how you use it. I mean, I think a better way to quickly summarize President Trump's position on tariffs and on international trade is that he's all for free trade as long as it's fair trade. And if it's not fair trade, then you use tariffs to try and level the playing field. There was a time in our nation's history after World War II, for example, when we really didn't need tariff protections because there was, the only country in the world that didn't have its manufacturing facilities bombed and its fields bombed so it could grow food. The only country that really didn't suffer that kind of devastation from World War II was the United States. And we didn't really need protection from other countries. We needed to help other countries. So we got in the position where we were helping them to the point where maybe we're now helping them too much. There's countries that have risen in economic prosperity since the end of World War II, since the 1960s and 70s. And we still have these relationships with them where they take advantage of us on trade. And it's time to put an end to that.
Now, when you said that too, I still am a bit more in the other camp. But the difference with Trump, say, with Bush and the Republican line before, that I think is the populist and brings people to his side, that you're going to have to experiment and zig and zag here. The classic Republican position, Andy, was always no tariffs, no spending on popular programs that do help people, even if there's some difficulties with them. Would you say this marks Trump as different than that, say, the traditional Republican line?
Yeah, the traditional Republican line, which is represented by our former presidents, both President Bush's as well as President Reagan, was that tariffs were a good thing because we got cheaper goods from other countries. And people in the United States could take advantage of that. The problem is that America's working class, America's the bottom of the middle class and all of the working class, really paid the price for the discount in product prices by the loss of jobs, the kind of things that J.D. Vance experienced in his area in Ohio. And what we need to – nothing is good in absolutes. Tariffs are not good in absolutes. And having no tariffs, free trade is not good in absolutes. What we have to do is make a rational balance between what's in our country's best interest, what's in the best interest of America's working class, and what isn't. And at this point in time, where we are today, it is not in our best interest to continue, say, with Germany, an agreement where if you sell a Ford in Germany, you have to pay a 25% tariff. But if you sell a Mercedes in Detroit, you pay a 3% tariff. Now, those aren't reasonable kinds of exchange rates. That isn't the kind of thing we want to see on the world market. We want to see people treating us fairly, and we'll treat others fairly. And this is not, by the way, anything that has to do with being anti-German or anti-Japanese or anti-Chinese or anti-anything else. The Japanese and the Germans both build cars in the United States. And when they build those cars in the United States, the profits from those operations would be taxed, I believe, at President Trump's proposed 15% tax, because those goods are made in the United States. It doesn't have to necessarily be a United States company, but they get an advantage of providing products and jobs to American workers. You need a rational balance. And I think what we have with President Trump is somebody who is a business person, will approach these issues rationally, particularly energy issues, which were a big part of his speech today. But he will approach these issues rationally, not ideologically. In other words, they'll have to make sense on paper. They're going to have to make sense for the American people before he's going to support them.
Now, one thing I hope he's armed for, you're right. His instincts, his business, it's going to be the Trump tax cuts. I believe in the ABC debate, that's an easy target for them because of the laziness of the media to say they only help the wealthy. Give us an idea of how you would approach that. I mean, a factoid or two here about what that did for the average middle-class American.
So let me just give you a broad number that I think kind of brings home the point. In 2017, under higher tax rates, under the tax rates that were in place during the Obama era and before the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the top 1% of Americans paid about 38% of all federal income tax. this year, 2020 or 2021, which is the most recent year for which we have the data. 2021, under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, they paid 45%. Back in 2017, tax revenue was about $3.3 trillion. In 2021, it was over $4 trillion. So these are the worst tax cuts for the rich in the history of tax cuts for the rich.
There's the line. There's the line right there, Andy. You got it. Yes.
They're paying a higher percentage of a larger tax base than they were paying prior to the tax cuts. What that tells you is that people in the higher tax brackets can control when they have and when they don't have income, and more easily than people in the lower tax brackets. And so when you encourage them to generate income, they generate income, and you actually get more revenue at a lower rate. Art Laffer described this to Ronald Reagan in what's called the Laffer curve, and it's something that's proven true under the Trump tax cuts. There'll be 4 years at the end of this September, and we only have CBO's forecast for this year, but it's almost September, so it's a pretty good forecast. The 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, tax revenue has been over $4 trillion every year at these reduced tax rates. Tax rates had never been $4 trillion ever in the history of the country. We've never had a $4 trillion year until 2021. The idea, and by the way, the bottom 50% of taxpayers, the bottom 50%, I should say of taxpayers because they don't all pay taxes, but of income earners pay something like 3% of all federal income tax, while the top 1% are almost paying half. So to say that these were tax cuts for the rich, as I said a minute ago, they were the worst tax cuts for the rich in the history of tax cuts for the rich.
Whisper that in his ear if you're talking with him before. I hope he's talking with you. I'm serious because, his instincts, what he did with the Economic Club today, but in the debate, those are the things that are going to come up. Now, look, as far as I know, Elon Musk is relentless and genius at what he sets his mind to. Putting him in charge of government efficiency seems to be a master stroke. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that'd be really an exciting committee. This guy, this is an incredible man. I mean, he really drove the electric car industry, which, whether you like it or not, Tesla makes a heck of a car. And this was the first company that did it. And he didn't start that company, but he drove it to the success it has now. He's actually landing rockets. He has a company that lands rockets, something the United States government had never been able to do. He lands them so you can reuse them. And I was actually on a fishing trip up in the Northwest Territories of Canada, beyond anywhere you'd ever want to go. You had to take 3 plane flights to get there, and then take one of those little otter planes to get to the lodge.
Can I ask you, why do you do something like that? Go to a beach. We walk down a Wildwood, Andy. You don't have to be fishing out there. We got fish here.
You should see the pictures of the northern pike and lake trout we caught. But leaving that aside for a moment, we had internet at the lodge because of Starlink, because of Elon Musk. I was able to use this is a man there. This is I don't know if you've ever read Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, but he's the John Galt of this generation. And to put him on a committee like that, if he becomes dedicated to seeing that the goals of reducing government waste are accomplished, could you imagine Elon Musk working with Donald Trump? I get excited just thinking about the possibilities of what that could mean for this country. It's just a tremendous, tremendous possibility. And I hope everybody in Pennsylvania is listening to your show, because my opinion is that Pennsylvania decides this race. So I think everybody out there should know the future of America is in your hands.
I'm putting that on the list. Just tell Trump if he doesn't know. We agree. Put all your chips in. When one of these guys says, "Sir, we need to put a billionaire in Nevada and all," no, push the trip. Every chip you have, push it into Pennsylvania. Whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to win. It comes down to that.
I absolutely agree, and which is why it's important. Everybody that listens to this call, get out and vote. Don't let people tell you that you shouldn't vote because there's cheating. That's people that don't want you to vote. Get out there and vote. Get your friends to vote. Help everybody to vote. We need to win. We're going to need to win Pennsylvania by maybe more than the votes that are cast. And to do that, we're going to need everybody to vote. I think we can do it. I believe we can do it. And I'm I'm from Ohio myself, so very close to the Pennsylvania border, and I'm counting on our fellow Pennsylvanians to really get out there and vote for Trump this election.
We will do that, Andy. Your book is out, too, Other People's Money, How Progressives Hijacked Your Investments to Achieve Their Aims. That's out there right now, right?
Well, I've got the book. The book's called The Tyranny for the Good of Its Victims, and it's about the ugly truth about stakeholder capitalism, and it comes out in January. So keep your eyes open. And I've got one from 2018 called The Capitalist Comeback about Trump's economic policies. That's been out since 2018. But the next one comes in January.
And, Andy, one other thing, too. I saw today there is some kind of metric, I'll call it that, around LGBTQ plus issues. And I think it was Molson and Ford and somebody else publicly pretty much said, we're not going to be involved in that. We're not going down that path. Do you see corporate America turning a bit away from the woke, away from the DEI?
Absolutely. DEI basically stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it basically, and Harris is very much in favor of this. She talks about it regularly, and she was a DEI hire for vice president. And I'm not saying that to be disparaging. President Biden said that. But she says it's about equity. In other words, it's about people ending up at the same place. It's not about equality, which is about people having equal opportunity. So it's a rejection of Martin Luther King's statement that he looks forward to a day when his children will be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. She wants people judged by factors other than merit. And initially it was pushed by BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, these huge investment firms that people were unaware really controlled America's corporate culture because they controlled so much stock. It was other people's stock. They invested other people's money, but they voted those shares. As people have come to understand what was going on with DEI, what was going on with these large investment firms, consumers have started to react. And they've been guided recently by a guy named Robbie Starbuck, who's done a great job getting the word out on this. But consumers are now responding to these corporations, and people that make tractors or make pickup trucks or, make rifles or make motorcycles are realizing that if they don't change their policies and go back to a merit-based society, which Elon Musk has been very, very much in favor of, if they don't go back to this merit-based society, they're going to lose customers. And so I think you're going to see increasingly that companies will make that transition.
Andy, thank you so much. Enjoyed talking fishing with you, too, also. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Tom. Same here. Good to be here.
All right, Dan, you know me pretty well. How much of a fisherman do you think I'd be?
0.0.
Yes, I remember this story. I may have only been 12 or 13, but times were different then. My father let me. It was a motorboat. There were a bunch of people on board. If I can remember right, we came close to running aground. I thought you pull it in the direction you're going versus the opposite. I just remember that. Hey, would you like to run the motorboat?
You get seasick, too?
No, I didn't get seasick. I was in danger of crashing now. So you don't look like a fisherman either.
Oh, I love fishing.
You do?
Yeah, when I can have an excuse to do nothing for hours, it's fantastic.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
In the producer's lounge, a lot of
Sorry,
fishing
not
poles.
booking guests right now. I'm out fishing.
I got that
great.
fishing pole. But right now, it is time coming off that for...
It's Dom's Money Melody.
Money gone.
That is right. Today we're playing for a pair of tickets to Politics and Pints with Don Trump Jr. at the Scottish Rite Auditorium, Collingswood, New Jersey, September 12th. Each ticket also includes a copy of Letters to Trump, coffee table, giant book. All these famous people, Trump wrote it, say they love me then. Why don't they now? Tickets are on sale at 1210WPHT.com. I might add, what a fabulous night that's going to be. Just post-debate. But Don Trump Jr., I just started to work it up today, Dan. I'm up to 50 questions that I'll probably get to 10 once he gets wound up and gets going. And we try to incorporate questions from the audience. There's a big pre-event there. It's going to be a fabulous night. You'll meet Dan, you'll meet Ro, and a cast of characters you'll find nowhere else. It will be a fabulous Talk Radio 1210 night. 1210WPHT.com. What's the backstory today?
Today, we're going to talk about a song. Yesterday, I introduced a song that was sung in Portuguese, a very popular song. We went with Foreigner. Today we're going to go with a song that was very big in the 90s, the late 90s, actually a number one hit for 2 weeks. But a lot of people just don't know the name of the song nor the band because not that they're a one-hit wonder. They had a couple of songs, but they never really broke huge, and they're kind of forgotten through time. So, Dom, today we want to know both the name of the original song and the name of the original band of this song you're about to hear sung in Portuguese. So the winner today will have to give us both the band name and the name of the song. Here is your clue, Dom. Take a listen. So this is being sung in Portuguese. We want the name of the original song that they're covering here and the name of the band that did it. It's not Five for Fighting. This kind of reminds me of John Ondrasik, though. It's kind of like the same genre that John and Five for Fighting were in at the time. But it's not him. We're looking for the name of the original artists and the name of the original song, Dom.
All right, big prize. The tickets for Politics and Pints, Don Trump Jr. You'll want to be there. Jump in, 855-839-1210, AT&T, and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210.
Talk Radio 1210's huge Politics and Pints with Donald Trump Jr. is Thursday, September 12th. Be there as Dom Giordano talks to Donald Trump Jr. about the election, politics, and all things Trump. Thursday, September 12th at Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood. Your tickets include a copy of Letters to Trump by former President Trump. A cash bar will be available. Get your tickets now at 1210WPHT.com.
Back to school? Make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Prepare your student now for a great school year. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social, and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Help your students start strong. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today at 800-300-0003. Online at newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-246-0553. 800-246-0553. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-246-0553.
What's better than watching your team win? Winning money while you do it. I'm Jim Costa, and on Cash the Ticket, Mike Valeni and I give you the edge to make every game playable. College football, NFL, we're breaking it all down game by game. Your podcast feed is going to be filled, and you're going to love it. You can click on the games you care about. We do it all. With our analysis, we're finding games that other people aren't talking about. We're turning every Saturday and every Sunday into days where you got a chance to win. Don't just sit on the sidelines. Cash the Ticket with us. Follow Cash the Ticket in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
It's the Money Melody.
Where's all the money gone?
Show me the money.
Is right. Every day we allow Dan some subtle torture going on across the Delaware Valley with Dom's Money Melody. Today it's that version of the Portuguese songs.
Yeah, the Eagles coming up in Brazil. Why
That's
not?
right.
Yeah,
Nice touch. Yeah.
You're going to reverse, like, what language is this that we normally do? I'm going to play in that language. I want to know the artist and
at least
song name.
Spanish, we might have a shot, but Portuguese. All right, here's a little bit of it.
Passos mais distantes, te guiar como farol. Eu quero, é tudo que eu quero, no fundo do meu coração. Vou te encontrar na luz das estrelas, te refletir nas águas do
I really like the original version of this song, too. I got to admit.
Yeah, big time. All right, so we're looking for the name of the song and also the group performing it, the band and the song. Tony in Philadelphia. Hey, Tony, what's the band and what's the song?
Hey, I'm going to go with Truly, Madly, Deeply by Savage Garden.
Wow.
Hey,
Tony, I got to ask you, how do you know that?
I was born in 85, and I remember when that was a hit.
Oh, it's such a big song. I love that
very
song.
nice,
You
Tony.
still have a soft spot of nostalgia for that song, Tony?
Say it again, I'm sorry?
Do you still have nostalgia for this song, or do you just think it's a corny song?
It's pretty corny.
Yeah, it is corny, you're right. All right, I'll go with
I'll
that.
put you on hold. Come on up and say that. Take a picture, Tony, with us at
I don't think Don Trump
Politics
Jr.
of
is a
Pints.
fan of Savage Garden. Yeah,
I have no idea of, Jim says it's a big wedding song, but I have no.
Oh, yeah, Jim?
So I have no bias toward this.
No?
No, not at all.
Well, if you want to listen to this type of music, I suggest go listen to John Andrasik, Five for Fighting. I'm sure
Oh,
Don
yeah.
Jr. does like that guy. He's
Okay. Oh, yeah, he does.
kind enough to do a event with us.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right, so 855-839-1210. Now, coming up, Dan, and we won't give too much away at this point, though, but apparently there is a bit of movement in the Kamala Harris poster situation, and there's an argument of why the poster that was put up has nothing to do with the election, apparently.
Yeah, so what's
Yeah.
happening now is CBS News is reporting, Dom, that Winston Sang is the artist who's taking responsibility for the post. And in the post, when he took responsibility, or what looks like he's taking responsibility, he posted the caption, quote, "Don't mix sports and politics." And I invited the guy on the show because I'm curious, well, one, does he realize he's kind of breaking the law here? But two,
Right.
I want to know, is he talking about, is this commentary on, is this guy trying to be apolitical and putting this out there as a blast and look at the reaction here, and this is why sports and politics shouldn't mix, so stop mixing sports with politics, something conservatives have been asking for a long time? Or do you think this is a guy who's pro-Kamala Harris trying to give the impression that the Eagles are actually endorsing him? Her.
Unclear, or is he just trying to get his name out there? I don't know how big
That's
of a
true,
name
too,
he
yeah.
is as a street artist. And look, this idea of Steph Curry was on CNBC today, and he's the greatest shooter in history. Even I'd have to concede that now. But I can't stomach the guy. He's a hypocrite. He's a phony. He endorsed Kamala Harris, and yet he doesn't want people even to see his house in his neighborhood, one of the $10 million plus neighborhoods. And he has every right to go to the convention. I think it's when the team engages in putting their thumb on the scale. That's when it gets to be. And when the players took a knee, the resentment I have, I'm not saying most of those guys were doing it to impugn veterans or anything else. Whether they like it or not, I put them until they prove it otherwise, is they're anti-police, and some of them are just straight up like Colin Kaepernick. Cop haters. That's what it's about with me. I think people get misdirected. They start saying they're going after the military or something like that. No. Focus. It's always about the cops here. That's what it is. And the cops are the ones that protect them even at games. So this mixture of politics and sports, do you have an example where you think it's over the line of somebody, an athlete, or is it the team that did something?
What, just overtly political?
Yeah, there's some political point with sports. I'm trying to see this guy's point here.
Well, I mean, I think it started with sports because now every single aspect of life, you cannot escape politics. And I got to admit, even someone who works in political radio and bleeds politics, it is so damn annoying that you just can't turn it off even when you want to. And I think it really started with the NFL, with football, and their embrace of the kneeling situation rather than trying to turn it off as a public relations nightmare. They kind of bit into it, bought into it. Then George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, and there's political statements left and right. And it's just, this is something, and I don't mean to be that guy, but you want to escape from reality. And for the longest time, sports was one of those escapes from reality, and now you don't have it anymore. So is this guy making the commentary that, this shouldn't be happening? Or is this guy now trying to cover up that he's some kind of Democratic operative that's being, paid for putting up Kamala signs?
That's what I wonder.
There's a lot of questions that arise out of this.
We'd love to have him on, but the question now is this. What is the city of Philadelphia going to do? And Al Schmidt, next time you run into me, let's not shake hands. Let's not be friendly. We've invited you in multiple places, Al. And Danny came to the Seven Fishes the first year that you were ever there.
Yeah.
Al Schmidt was there.
Mm-hmm.
Come on the show and tell us why you're not using this. That's what I want to know. Why are you not using this as an example, A, of disinformation, misinformation, even though I hate those terms, and B, what's the remedy to this? What would you propose be done? Because you're one of the people that's insinuating we're not going to have the Russians coming in here and doing stuff again. Can you imagine? Josh Shapiro, he's got Homeland Security. He's got the FBI all in a meeting 6 months ago, laying out they're not going to let people steal our election. You're the ones that we suspect. We're not the ones trying to steal any. How are we able to steal an election in Philadelphia? We can't even, Dan, get enough people to the polling places because they're scared to death to go in there and be a poll watcher in various neighborhoods in Philadelphia. I bet even with all this effort, we're still going to have 25% where there's no Republican representative there. And what they put you through. We're not stealing anything. Why does Philadelphia have that reputation? Why? Is it just conservatives over the years? No, they revel in it. They're tough. They'll do what they want in Philadelphia. If you want the street cred, then you're going to pay for it in the real credibility. All right, so that's the development in this. We're not letting go on this. Now, we'd love to have him come on. Dan may be right. If that's his story, that somehow or another this is about saying keep politics out of sports, well, let him explain. But the bottom line is there is no right to break into those SEPTA facilities, those bus stops, and put this stuff up. So it's out there. Dan saw it. CBS 3 had it. What's the city of Philadelphia doing? What will Larry Krasner do? More importantly, what will Al Schmidt do? What will they do? We're not going to let them pound away at conservatives or Trump supporters for every little thing that's said in any way, shape, or form. And then ignore something this public. Shouldn't they use this as what I call the teachable moment? Don't be involved in this stuff. We're going to be on the lookout for it. We have to be really careful here because people are on the edge. And we're just not going to allow it. If you break the law in a situation like this, it's going to be trouble. Is that too much to ask, Al? Come on, I'll shut up. Dan will just talk to you for a minute. I'll throw the question. I'll go into a soundproof room and then come back after you answer. That's all we'd like to hear. Tell me why you wouldn't do it. You guys are making too much of it. We're tired of hearing that. Then stop it already with Homeland Security. What do you think is going to happen here in Philadelphia? What are Trump people going to allegedly do that you think is going to happen? All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. If this guy's serious about this, it's an interesting point. I think doing it around an election is a bit misguided in that, not only that, do I really think people are going to take the endorsement of the Eagles and vote for Kamala Harris? No, that's not the point, though. The point is, any annex like this, if it were for Trump, you would never hear the end of it. Coming up, Will Bunch, Dan, our buddy over at the Inquirer, knows how important fracking is. He says Pennsylvania hates fracking. Column just out. And your calls, you get in at 855-839-1210. Let's talk, though, first about FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little bit different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All that you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/DOM, D-O-M, to download America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus. Present in Pennsylvania. Full price of the NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after a free trial. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
The dry weather pattern remains in place through the rest of the work week. Mixture of sunshine and clouds today, still comfortable with a high of around 80. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And for Friday, a little bit more humid, partly to mostly cloudy with a high again near 80.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast approaching. Apple picking, fall leaves, and chilly nights are on the horizon. With Legacy Box, you can cozy up and watch something special this fall. Your family's home movies. Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution for preserving your family's memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
I am Judith Krupnik, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. I drive an absolutely fabulous XC90 hybrid, the best of both electric and internal combustion. It's really an incredible Volvo. We are offering a $15,000 discount when leasing any 2024 XC90 hybrid in stock. If ever an XC90 was on your list, now is the time to visit Cherry Hill Volvo. $15,000.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Tomorrow's 7:10 Phillies Marlins game can be heard on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Phillies are on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT tomorrow.
When it comes to your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic has built a reputation for transforming kitchens with precision and care. From custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes to storage solutions. And we get the job done fast. In just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without the hassle. So trust the name your neighbors have relied on for decades, Kitchen Magic. Get your free in-home consultation at kitchenmagic.com and let's cook up something extraordinary.
Weather sponsored by Robert Half.
The dry weather pattern remains in place through the rest of the work week. Mixture of sunshine and clouds today, still comfortable with a high around 80. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And for Friday, a little bit more humid, partly to mostly cloudy, with a high again near 80.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Tom Giordano show. Hunter Biden plans to change his plea in the tax case. Again, we're waiting for the pardon to come down very soon after that from Joe Biden. Imagine the significance if this had been Biden still as the nominee, the type of stuff that would be playing out. But the economic stuff, we had a great guest on that, is playing out, and I think it will come up during the debate. We also told you, Dan saw this from CBS 3 and also, I think, from the artist on Instagram, taking credit for this under the guise of, I want to keep politics out of sports. That may be the intention. But the question still is that enough to avoid any kind of legal implications? By the way, speaking of legal implications, we had the sad death, Dan, was the 14 of the kid killed in Northeast Philadelphia that you and I went. That's how we met Anne-Marie Muldoon, I think, first time around. During the Krasner rain, he went back to the car to get water that the family just came back from shopping.
He was at 15, Sean Toomey.
Sean Toomey, killed in a carjacking incident. And we talked about Sam Oropesa, who had been a breath of fresh air, gone after Krasner as the state senator. What did they do? Well, they had one Dylan in Northeast Philadelphia who apparently didn't get the signatures or some legal situation, Dan. So he tagged out. And what did the Democrats do? They tagged in his brother, Jimmy Dillon. Only the Delaware Valley Journal, Dan, you didn't even see this, I know. Be ready. Tie into the chair here with Jimmy Dillon. Delaware Valley Journal says there is still an outstanding arrest warrant for Jimmy Dillon, who is the candidate in the state Senate race in New Jersey. Apparently, Jimmy Dillon, according to this report, had a speeding and other law violation situation, never showed up for court in New Jersey, and it's been unearthed now. He never showed up for the trial for a speeding ticket and driving without a license. And this is ongoing. In other words, now this warrant dates from 2004 and is from Tuckahoe, New Jersey, says the Lauren Reddy, the municipal court administrator. The warrant is valid, still outstanding, speeding ticket and driving without a license, then not showing up in court. Question is, in Northeast Philadelphia, when do you stop for voting for Democrats? When do you stop? When does it stop that you just don't show up like morons and vote for the Democrat? So is the Philadelphia Inquirer going to be asking Jimmy Dillon out? Dan, maybe they'll tag the brother in.
I mean, I want to underline something here. I think it's about time that Sherelle Parker's honeymoon phase starts to fade, because I don't know if you saw this, and they're kind of not reporting it as much as they should be. Mm-hmm. My friend actually texted me around midnight last night. He was walking home from work and heard 6 shots ring out in Old City.
Right.
There's a guy that was...
Second and Chestnut.
Yep. And the guy was attempted carjacking and shot the person trying to carjack, and the guy was dead laying in the street. Right. We're talking Old City here. About a week ago, it wasn't reported, there was a guy who tried stealing a e-scooter from somebody at like 2nd and one of the streets down there.
Yeah.
And he was shot at when the guy was trying to jack his scooter. Like, this is Old City, Philadelphia, and I don't think it's
tourists.
And I don't think we're not us, but in general, the city is highlighting that this crime issue is still continuing to this day.
Yeah, well, I would say to that, I think that she's doing the right things, and the police commissioner is. They don't have enough cops still. The tell is going to be, does she step up to the plate and directly challenge, along with the police commissioner, Larry Krasner, when he runs next year? That's going to be the tell. That's going to be the moment. If they don't, then despite all their efforts, we're still going to have this. To your point, yeah, I did see it. But imagine now in Northeast Philadelphia. Don't you think Jimmy Dillon should have to clear this up, that he should go over to Tuckahoe, pay whatever the fines are, didn't show up in court? Oh, come on, Don. Yeah, it's a 20-year-old thing. Yes, he's been 20. That's still an outstanding warrant. Or don't you think Tuckahoe ought to arrest this guy? What does it take to break through in Philadelphia? What does it take to break through on this stuff? We saw it. All these people crying, Sean Toomey, et cetera. Who do they vote for? They vote for the second Dillon. Marshall Dillon could have been running, and they would have voted for him. When Sam Orapizo, #1 campaign issue, going after Larry Krasner in Harrisburg. So don't call out Krasner. Continue to vote for Democrats. This is what you're going to get. But here again, the media. Now, I write for the Delaware County Journal. I'm proud of it. And we try to bring you stuff the rest of the media is not. You haven't heard this anywhere else. Don't you think a few people ought to be asking Jimmy Dillon a question or two? Yo, you got to take care of this speeding and not going to court and all the stuff associated with it. Wouldn't you think? Okay. We're working on getting that artist on, but I think that it's clear whatever his rationale was about politics and sports, there ought to be something done about it. And the state ought to say, look, we're not allowing this type of stuff. 0.2 of an atmosphere. You can't be telling people the Eagles are endorsing someone. And are the Eagles going to say, well, what about copyright infringement and all the rest of it? Or is everybody going to say, just let it go? Okay, lightning round. Hit us with that villain that is better, more significant, and you're more interesting than the good guy. You get in at 855-839-1210.
September baseball is always exciting.
It's at the wall. It's gone! A grand slam, and the Phillies now lead it 6-5.
Friday night, catch all the excitement as the Phils travel to Miami to face the Marlins. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The pitch swung on, belted deep left field. That one's going to go. 3-run home run. Alec Bohm to start the night.
Phillies baseball, Friday night at 6:35. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Bob Casey is lying to seniors. Listen to this whopper.
We're lowering prescription drug costs. Lowering prescription drug costs? Not even close. Prices for medications are soaring. Casey's had nearly 2 decades in Washington. He hasn't fixed it. He's made it worse. Casey even voted for higher taxes on seniors' Social Security benefits. That's right, Casey pushed higher taxes on seniors. Casey also voted for a bill that could raise out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors. Seniors are already struggling with sky-high prices. But instead of helping, Bob Casey is trying to fool seniors and hide his failed record. Casey has had nearly 20 years in Washington. What's he given us? Higher costs and higher taxes. That's the real Bob Casey. He's wrong for Pennsylvania. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Support the Evesham Township Police Foundation. See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, Saturday, October 26th.
It was fabulous. It was the most joyful night I have experienced in a long time. God bless America. There's hope. There is so much hope with joy and laughter.
The Frank Sinatra guy, I really liked him.
His imitation of the Bee Gees.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com!
Is your kitchen or bathroom in need of a makeover?
It's time to transform your home into a personal oasis with Emmons Remodeling.
Our expert team specializes in kitchen and bathroom renovations, creating beautiful, functional spaces you and your family will love. We handle everything from design to installation.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today at 1210 WPHT.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
Yes, that's right. Dom's Lightning Round, sponsored every day by Cherry Hill Volvo. Right now, Cherry Hill Volvo offering a $15,000 discount when leasing any in-stock 2024 XC90 hybrid. They always go the extra mile for their customers at Cherry Hill Volvo. All right, side question time. A villain more interesting maybe than the good guys. David in Somerset. Hey, David, what do you have?
Hey, Dom, how are you? I have Nicole Wallace. She was a character on Law & Order Criminal Intent, and it was a recurring character from year to year, and she was played by Olivia Diabo, and she was just smarter than Vincent D'Onofrio's character, who was brilliant, and every year she just was able to wiggle out of whatever, she was so close to being under arrest for whatever she did. Mm-hmm. And she was a diabolical killer. So she was so much more, and it pains me to say this, she was so much more interesting than Vincent D'Onofrio, because I love him as an actor.
Thank you, David. Yeah, well, the real Nicole Wallace is not going to be pulling anything like that off on MSNBC. All right, that's a good one. Let's go to Joe in Columbus, New Jersey. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Dom. If that magical summer we were all wrapped by those I was only told I could say one guy, but there were two guys that were going back and forth for the baseball or the home run.
Oh, yes.
And we fell in love with both of those guys. So I'm going to say Mark McGwire. And I felt, honestly, that they overshadowed Roger Maris.
Ah, interesting. I despise both of them.
Do you?
Yeah, well, and I was despising, I was okay when he had creatine and all that, Dan, and I was saying, no, he's doing other stuff well before it came out. They're despicable, both of them.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Like, as a kid, it was so fun to watch, like, these wrestlers with these short bats swinging and firing away these, 63 home runs?
Yeah, I would say it's heroic. Some player who just went nuts and said, if Hank Aaron had said no.
I mean, as a guy who's competitive as you are, in the spirit of competition, shouldn't we just allow everything?
No. Well, if
they want to use steroids, use steroids.
Okay.
If it makes you better.
The only thing with that is now we're asking people to have to compete with something we know is tragically cancerous, etc.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a little bit over the line
you're
here.
Yeah.
And also, what's the name? Sosa was using little balls inside the bat.
Yeah.
Corking the bat.
Corking the bat.
I'm not a fan of corking the bat or corking other things when it comes to females.
I think that's a great answer, though, of anti-heroes / villains that they outshine the entire sport.
Yeah, Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle outshone him, and he was a good guy. Mickey Mantle was not. Joe in Bordentown. Joe, who's yours?
Hello, Dom and Dan. It would be Von Doom, Dr. Doom from the Fantastic Four comics. He was also the leader of Latvernia, so he had diplomatic immunity.
All right, gotcha. Bruce in the Northeast. Bruce, what do you have today?
Oh. Yeah, hi, guys. My answer is Charlie Manson. He, all the attention was directed at him rather than his actions, and then he became like a celebrity, like a cult figure, and it just reversed. Should have been.
Yeah, I think so. I think more interesting or more of a celebrity out of that. Yeah, true. I like Bugalosi, though, the guy that got him pretty much. Scott in Mount Laurel. Scott, how about you? Who do you have?
My guy is J.R. Ewing.
Yes.
He was so evil, and everyone loved him. And at the time, it was the biggest thing going. I was a kid listening to Don Henderson and Ira Melman on this station doing sports at night, and they come on and say, this is the Who Shot J.R. edition. I mean, it was that big of a thing.
It was huge, to put it mildly. Maybe squeeze one more. Robert in Ben Salem. Robert, who's yours?
Hi, Dom. Dan, it's good to talk to you. Dom, if there was no air conditioning, would summer still be your favorite season?
Yes.
You don't have to answer that.
I know. I still will go on record.
That's such a lie. That's a lie, Dom. Come on. I'm fact-checking as a producer here.
A nice day is when you can open the window, and most of those are in the fall and spring. But I'll move on. Be quick. Yeah. I'm going to go with Frankenstein because that was the only monster on the sci-fi horror movies that elicited any sympathy from me. I hated the Wolfman, hated Dracula. The Mummy was lame as hell, so I'm going to say Frankenstein.
As Seinfeld would say, it's a monster in a sports jacket. You ever see that? That he has a sports jacket. Every Frankenstein they put up has a sports jacket.
He's well dressed.
Yeah, well dressed. All right, Dan, give me a couple of contenders here.
Standouts for me. Early on, we had the Joker from Will and Philly. That was very much liked. Mark in Philadelphia with Dexter, which is probably Rose's favorite answer. I really like the answer of Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa from Real Life. Dr. Doom, J.R. Ewing, another big answer. Frankenstein, probably the earliest example of an answer we have. Dom, I'm leaning towards Joe and Columbus with Mark McGuire.
Let's go with Joe and Columbus, even though I'm not showing my bias. I
despise
McGuire and Sosa. And I saw Barry Bonds pretty up close, and I said to Ro, what does that look like? We were at a game, and she said, you're right, it is a pumpkin head. All right, so we're back tomorrow. 4 hours of Zioli time coming up next here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Of course, we all need to save a little cash, especially during back-to-school season. Saving money on your utility bills is a great start. Sign up for the CNC Heating and Air Conditioning Maintenance Plan. Minimize the wear and tear on your system and lower your energy bills this winter. If your HVAC needs replacing, CNC makes budgeting for a new system a snap with 0% financing options. Schedule an estimate today with CNC Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York certified comfort experts. Start saving today. Visit cc-hvac.com.
Labor Day means back to school clothes for the kids, and that means a lot of laundry for you. There may not have been a deal on Little Debbie's designer denims, but you can save $300 on this Whirlpool top-load washer to make sure they last. There are more ways to wash with this 2-in-1 Whirlpool washer with removable agitator for only $4.49. The Labor Day sales event is going on now at Gerhardt's Appliances, where 80 years of small business is kind of a big deal.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Listen this Saturday as Penn State battles Bowling Green. Coverage starts at 11:30 a.m. on the home of Penn State football. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Your 401k goes up and down. That's fine when you're 40, but not when you're 60. Find out how to protect your hard-earned money. Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even